what's up, everyone? And welcome to a brand new episode of Heliopsychosis podcast. This is your host, Vikka Draziv, guys. Welcome to the show. And yes, what an awesome topic we have got today, too. The Monte Urbano map and the Antarctica 3D. What's happening there? What's the secrets? Is it really 40, 50, 60 years old? Or is it just a show to hide something from us? From the time of the Cold War or the First World War, so called, maybe would be the reason for this indoctrination to happen, right? So, yep. Today, I think my co-host is going to be late today, and some of the people who are supposed to join me today are having some power outage problems. I don't know how many of you guys are having power, but I'm hearing people having no power from few days. So let's see who can make it today for this amazing discussion. And you guys also have the link there if anybody wants to jump in to add something to the conversation is absolutely welcome too. And yeah, I think Sam made it. Sam, how are you, brother?
How are you? Sorry, just
How
got
you doing?
Sorry, I'm okay. I'm okay. I'm just like so busy on internet making videos and everything, making interviewing people from the an astronomical, astronomical. Sorry, circles. So very busy on internet. But thank God, I won't miss like Vika Dravid's show. That's for sure.
Oh yeah, brother. Oh yeah, brother. Yeah. Um, Aaron was also supposed to be with us here today, but he couldn't because of the same power problem.
What
I
power
even heard
problem?
even New York was having problem. Like Trump
Really?
maybe he just spoke too much, right? Then he can do. Maybe that is the reason there are people having problem. I've heard like maybe 1.5 million people are having problem in U.S. with the. I don't know how much truth is to that, but
Oh,
do let us know in the chat because yeah, they're saying the more than 1.5 million people get power from Canada, right? So
I have also we have here in Israel we have also some power shortages all the time, but like short ones, but a lots of them. So I bought this battery there, this I don't know how you call that, UCP or some CPU or something. And so as soon as there's no power, the computer keeps on going, internet keeps on going like for hours without without depending on of the electrical company. So that's good because when you're on a computer and there's a power shortage, it's like whoa.
oh yeah, it can destroy your
Yeah, I did. I lost
your
a
stuff.
computer like this.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So that's it now. I get that thing that it's good. It doesn't
So
cost
yeah,
much.
it's
Yeah.
it's so people are so dependent on the grid, right? This is the reason I live off grid, right? I make my power by solar panels. However, it has its own
Oh, great.
maintenance and things to do, and sometimes things get spoiled, so you have to buy the new components. But it's more worth than giving money to the energy power companies who are bloodsuckers.
Yeah. That's why they want people in the cities. They want to concentrate them in the cities because this is where you can depend on them. If the truck doesn't come into the city, you don't eat. During the Second World War in France, people in the cities were like starving. Where people outside the cities were like they had food, but in the cities they were starving. They were like eating human beings. There are stories. It's crazy.
Oh
That
yeah, and even the water electricity is where they get the people by the balls,
Yes, of
right?
course, of course,
And apart
of,
from that, you have the mortgage and all the community
of
bills and
course.
the association bills and the maintenance bill. You're screwed. Like you're off grid. You don't pay shit to anybody. Yeah.
It's like a chicken farm. Like a fucking chicken in a farm. That's all. It's just like feed you, make you fat, and just like just it's a farm. It's a farm. That's what it is. But what can I tell you?
Oh yeah, bro. So yeah, let's get the party started till we have more people joining us.
All
So
right, I'm
yeah.
here.
Oh yeah. So let's get
So
warmed up a bit.
what are we going to talk about today? What do you got on the
Menu.
fire force? Yeah, on the
Oh
menu.
yeah, for sure. We will see. We will see. Yeah. Let's see. Hmm.
Yo, 24-hour sun. The stormy smash shifty. Master Mason tricking, they came looking risky. Flat earth of disguise, a role they perfected just to claim Antarctica. A tale misdirected. Action, he shouts with his phone in his hand. Coordinates pop up, yeah, we in the land. Recorded maybe, no single shot proof. The footage too clean, no weather aloof. I applied for the trip on my inbox state. Dry. Meanwhile, he's out there, yo, who's this guy? Fake it till you make it. Reverse Uno card. 15 years of research, but the truth hits hard. Shadows and smoke, yeah, the details collide. Antarctica secrets, they stay worldwide. Shadows stretch long, but I peep the breath. One puff of white mist, then nothing was left. Cold as Antarctica, he said with a grin. But I saw the vape hidden under his skin. He hit that inhale, camera rolling clean. Exhale, look staged like a Hollywood scene. Flow believers yelling the air's too dry, but contradictions pile, why even try? Snow's disturbed, but his steps don't stick. Green screen flooring, a cinematic trick. Fake it till you make it, reverse Uno card. 15 years of research, but the truth hits hard. Shadows and smoke, yeah, the details collide. Antarctica secrets, they stay worldwide. Yo, I zoomed in tight on the green screen pocket. Logos on his jacket, globe signs unlock it. He grabs fake snow from the edge of the floor. Put the truck in the back, yo, what's that for? Driving through mountains, then poof, it's gone. A hidden driveway or a masterful con. Artificial sun pattern sitting in the files. Lighting up Antarctica with studio style. Where's the sun filter? Where's the zoom shot? All we got is CGI and a melting plot. Now did he call every country and ask what they saw? Dark skies, bright sun, or a cover-up flaw? Meanwhile I'm here, building plans in my mind while he fakes his trip, leaving logic behind. He flexed his phone but no global sync. Did the sun even rise or did the footage shrink? Emotions run high but my vision stays clear. Deciphering illusions they constructed with fear. Fake it till you make it, reverse Uno card. 15 years of research but the truth hits hard. Shadows and smoke, yeah, the details collide. Antarctica secrets, they stay worldwide. So next time you tell me my hours are waste, look close at his footage, how fake is the taste? Studio setups, shadows misaligned. Logic takes patience, let's rewind and find. You jump to conclusions while I dig through lies. 15,000 hours got me eagle-eyed. Fake breath, fake steps, yo, the scene's a mess. Truth's an expedition, not a studio test. Globe or flat, the real question's this: who controls the footage? What truth did we miss? So next time you watch, keep your focus and frame. Master Masons play chess in the shadowy game. 24-hour sun or artificial light. Antarctica secrets hide in plain sight.
Alrighty. So that was also one of the artists from TikTok. Amazing, uh, refuting the final experiment, the final fraud experiment. Just wanted you guys know, like, I'm one of the freaking biggest denier of this final experiment, right? Absolutely one of the biggest denier. So they have a very big obstacle if they want to prove that the TFE was real, right? So yeah, guys, there's a link right up there in the chat. Anybody wants to jump in, add something, is absolutely welcome. This video I've been playing, this one is it's a few years ago. I think it's from 2021 or 2020. This video. This video was taken down from my Facebook page. It had 1.5 million views. This video, right? And this was like going in full detail, like with Monte Urbano map in that time, right? So yeah, I'm gonna play a little bit. It just shows when was it shown to the public, right? Ancient flat Earth map, secrets and mystery reveal truth in plain sight. Yeah, it's a very old intro too. You can see that. So I had to take out the audio because of the same thing with some of the copyright with the music. So I had to take that out. Alrighty. Let's see. Wow. A moment. Yeah, in 2017, an ancient flat Earth map was released after being hidden for almost 430 years. I think we also spoke that is much more than that. Right? An authentic treasure for flat Earth community. This was in 2020 or 2021. Right? Ancient flat Earth map, secrets and mysteries revealed. Let's see if it plays. Monte Urbano. Oh, it's just gone directly in some of the parts it's not playing. Alrighty. Yeah. Monte Urbano in the 1950s it was it's going really fast. I don't know why the hell it's going really fast. Is it playing 2 times the speed or what the hell is the problem? Alrighty, because even what the hell is going on? Let me put it on full screen. Wait one moment.
Commander.
It doesn't let me do full screen too. Holy shit. All right. So anyway, maybe you can find this on my YouTube channel. This one, especially this video. It's called the Ancient Flat Earth Map Mysteries and Secrets Revealed. And this is a 13-minute video. I don't know why the hell it's going so fast on here. So the thing is, even how do you say, Iron Wars was there in Ramses' place, and he was trying to take an image and photos of all this Monte Urbano map, all right? And in one of the map, it shows there are countries all around, which shows like they have divided into different pieces, right? Let's see if I can play from here. No, that's the thing. That is not. What the hell? Why did they acting like that?
Well, it goes too fast. That's what you're saying.
Yeah, I don't know why it's going so fast.
You can, if you're playing that on VLC, you can, play with the speed there. You can make it half the speed.
France here.
Okay, so I'm gonna play from here. Let's see if we can later.
Pointing to the extra lands, there are some letters written here. It's written, I think it is in
One moment. Yeah, this is the part. Okay.
500 years old. Why? This map we all know about. It's one of my favorite maps. Kevin also knows.
Holy shit, it's giving me problems. This.
Here where the we all know is Monte Urbano map, and this is the map which is the whole topic all about. Is Antarctica Treaty 500 years old? Why? Why could it be possible? Okay, the next image is.
Vikka,
as I said,
I just got a message
sometimes the information
from Vlad. He's coming. He's getting his power back on, and he's coming.
Alrighty. Awesome.
could be right in front of our face, but we wouldn't see it. Sometimes it's there, but only when the time comes for it to know, you really see it. All this information here where the arrows are pointing to the extra lands, there are some letters written here. It's written, I think it is in Italian. Okay, so we continue. Okay, what do we see here? We see de la España. This means from Spain. This is de la Francia, from France. De la Germania, the Germany claiming like that. So this all goes around and is claimed by different countries and divided in
How many
different
are there?
parts.
Right, their own sector.
They're all, yeah.
The Masonic division. The Masonic division, in other words, of Antarctica. There you go.
There's probably 33 of them there.
So
there you go.
So if this map is more than
Guess.
500 years old, if this map is more than 500 years old, and this is already divided 500 years before, so how can be the Antarctica Treaty from past 60 or 80 years, 60 years ago? How is it possible?
Yeah, this is water.
There you go. This is a valid
That's
question.
interesting.
If this map goes back that far, what's this Antarctica treaty all about? Looks like it's already there anyway.
Exactly. This is what I'm trying to get. That this is just a mock-up. This treaty is just a mock-up to show maybe they had some internal, like maybe they just got hot and they started fighting again, so they may have to make a new one. You know what I think so. During the Cold War, during the First World War, yeah. So maybe that was the whole fuss about.
Yep, re-solidify it to the public, in other words.
Well, they made that
Exactly. So
treaty
here it's
1 year
Well,
after
guys,
the creation of NASA.
They did.
What were you saying, Sam? Go ahead.
No, I'm just saying that they made that treaty 1 year after the creation of NASA. I believe it must be linked.
Oh yeah, many things happened during those times in that time frame, right? The whole thing with Antarctica, with NASA.
Because when you think about it, despite all the conflicts and divisions that you can see that they showing you, on TV, Ukraine against Russia, Taiwan against China and everything. But one thing unites all these countries is, when you start talking about space, all the space agencies in the world, it's like, like some kinds of secret, brotherhood or something. Like all the countries just agree without dispute about the Earth, about the moon landing. Putin, is like saying, they went on the moon. They're going to Mars. Those people have secret services. They know that it's not true. They know that the Earth is flat. So they are all united, around the lie of the globe lie, and around Antarctica, because they all share Antarctica. That's the only two things I see, that all the countries are like united, like brothers, blood brothers. without no dispute, no nothing. I don't see a third thing around what they are united. They're fighting about everything, but about these subjects, like they're all united, man. Like it's a tight brotherhood. So I guess if they made a treaty after the creation of NASA, I believe that there is a link. I believe that NASA is acting as some kind of a way to unite these people at a different level. Of course, you don't see it because it doesn't officially NASA has nothing to do with Russia, Pakistan, or Zimbabwe, but somehow they act as a network of people uniting nations around an idea or an ideal. And I think Antarctica is linked to that. Antarctica is linked to that shit. I don't know. Since they all
And how about like these people were like, for them, maybe the space was the lands beyond Antarctica, and this is what they are calling space, because this is the reason, as you say, they collaborate in the fake space and they collaborate in the physical space that is Antarctica, and everything happening around that the same, the Antarctica Treaty, the NASA. So
Yeah.
that means that may be the real space they were fighting about,
exactly.
the Antarctica or the lands beyond.
Even Hitler, can have made allusions to that when he used to say, we need breathing space. So, in order to, to say that they had to invade Austria and everything, but the idea is there, like they want more space for something else. So I don't know. You don't know what they're sick-minded people. So it's very hard to penetrate like a sick mind. This is not easy. Not easy.
Those operations down there. If you look up the word Dominic in the anywhere, it refers to the Lord. So Dominic and Fishbowl were in Antarctica, and it sounds like Fishbowl of the Lord. Kind of interesting.
Oh,
Of course, yep. By the name itself, yes.
And those are the little things all over the place. Those little Easter eggs,
Yep.
whatever. They're
Easter
all over.
eggs,
Those are
yes.
things we have to all overlook constantly. Overlook these things to write it off and not say, hey, what is really going on? So
Right. The little Easter eggs hidden in plain sight. That's what Vikka was talking about earlier.
right.
There it is in front of everybody,
Yeah.
and nobody recognizes it because we're not taught to recognize it, but we don't recognize it for ourselves.
Right.
But then again, somebody has the epiphany and shares it with everybody. That's why we're all here doing this talking, because we're seeking more. Finally.
And here, Rob, and here it says, maybe you can read it already in Spanish, but here is for the people who don't understand. There are some information also in some parts. No, here is written in Italian. in the
Los
same
habitantes
map,
de este país no, okay.
No quiere comercio
It got
con
small on me.
forasteros.
Here we go. No quiere.
Okay. Comercio con forasteros.
They don't-
quiere su amistad.
It looks like forasteros. Does that mean foreigners? That's what it looks like. They don't
Yeah.
want commercial. They don't want commerce from foreigners, and they don't want
Yeah.
friendship.
Yeah.
And it's prohibited by law, by their kings, by big penalty, and they are idolatrous, meaning they're pagans.
Anyway, but that's
Right.
information about that part of people of that particular region. Okay, so there are different information is given.
Yes.
So this is the thing, right? This is from the part where it shows those fertile land on the outside. In one of the parts, that translation was right. It was translated from Spanish, from Italian to Spanish. Alrighty. Oh,
well, but like we saw before, there's lots of mistakes, or I guess purposely made mistakes of when they write things. Sometimes they write Italia with two T's, like sometimes they write the North is in English North, and in Italian it's not north, it's nord. That means that there are lots of anomalies, but I believe that it cannot be mistakes. I think it's like mistakes made on purpose. It's like some kinds of codes or something. I don't think these kind of people make mistakes like this. Like a lot of French words, Spanish, Italian, and English words in all these texts. It's I don't know. There are too many indications so far that confirm that it is not just about geography. That map is about more than that. It's like it's using geography for other things. It's like full of codes, full of like subtleties and like engineered anomalies. There's we don't understand yet, but we know it's like it's not just a map about the shape of the earth. Is much better than that. He uses that, but maybe to tell us something else. I don't know. I don't know what to tell you.
Oh yeah. Oh
There
yeah.
are things missing. Also, those squares, those white squares. That means they're hiding something. They took off things. So why? Why take something out? If you want to make a map, to reveal the shape of the earth, what do you have to hide? You understand? There are lots of incoherency. Apparently, that's not coherence, but I believe there is like a wisdom behind that, of course. Maybe
Oh
it's
yeah,
been
and reason
rectified.
too.
Yeah, of course, definitely.
There are many cities. There are many cities and countries are full in detail, right? How's that possible? How is that possible? We'll get that too, also.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
on the other side, when you see the Middle East, when you see the map of the Middle East, like the Sinai and everything, is totally like it's not represented, with great details. It's like it's totally distorted. So on one side they can have like places and the great details, and on the other side they like distorts, greatly distort, things that are known for like a long time. Like the Middle East is not something like they discovered yesterday. It's like something that they know for like thousands of years. It's not like the Americas or Antarctica, let's say. So why distort these maps? Over here and over there. I don't know. There's apparently doesn't make sense. We have to understand why they do that, and then it will make sense. It will make sense.
Exactly.
And
But here it says the plates that the map accompanied a 4-volume geographic, right? Oh, one moment. Geographical treaty published by Monte in 1590 called the Universal Treaty. Description and location of the known Earth so far, which is very well detailed and decorated. And the map served not only as a geographic tool, but also to display weather, fauna, habits, length of the day, information about the eclipses of the sun, the direction of the winds, and distances with regions. Therefore, this is a universal scientific planisphere. That's according to Monte Urbano.
Be there something you can explain to me, because I don't, I'm not an expert in all this, cartography stuff. But last time with, with Vlad, because we worked kind of a lot with Vlad on that map, on and off like that. And we realized that at one point it's written Levante and Ponente, which is like, the east and the west. And we realized that it's reversed. When you pass the equator, they place the east and the west in opposite directions. Oh, here it is. In opposite directions than above the the equator. So I don't know what it means. I believe that because maybe they want to make it believe that it's a globe. So maybe when you look down to the globe, it reverses itself. Hey, blood. So I don't know what do you know about this? About the fact that they might reverse the east and west, like let's say east is on the right side and west on the left side, but in the equator is the opposite. The east is on the right side and the west on the left. So, sorry, yeah. So
I'll
that's
just explain. Yeah, Sam, I'll explain what is that Levante and Poniente means. Let's say hello to our brother Ironworks. Vlad, how are you doing, brother?
Hey,
Glad you made
Vikka,
it.
Sam, thanks for having me. I really appreciate it. I apologize for being so late. I had a loss of power, but thank you still for having me, and I'm doing well. How about you guys?
very good.
Awesome, bro.
Glad
Glad
long
you made
time.
it.
Oh yeah, right. Long time. Yep.
So Levante means Levante and Poniente, right? It's almost like even directions, but it also here in Spain, in southern Spain especially, it's a very high wind area, right? The winds are really, really high, right? So if the winds are coming from inland, it's called Levante, right? And when the winds are coming from the Atlantic, it's called Poniente. That's how they define here the winds. And they more than directions, it's more about because the Levante is more warmer, right? More aggressive, right? And the Poniente can be sometimes aggressive, but morely it's chilling because it's coming from Atlantic.
Interesting.
Okay. That is.
So if you look at the map, see what it if it's in position, if it matches what you say on the map, because I don't remember where it is. I think that Ponente is on the right side and Levante on the left.
Right.
But I wanted to just to know, because I know you guys know much more about this thing than I do, and it's interesting.
I kept mispronouncing it and calling it potente, and that means power. And
You see, that's what happened.
No, it's Poniente. Yeah,
Poniente.
Poniente.
Poniente. Yeah.
Cool, so we will continue a bit with this, and then I would love to that bro Vlad, if you could share the screen later, especially with that smaller map.
Absolutely. I could do
Yep.
that.
Alrighty, we'll continue. So I was reading this. This is a clip from one of my videos that I had from a few years ago about Monte Urbano map, which had 1.5 million views on Facebook and was taken down. So, yep, let's continue. So, you guys heard me, right? When I read what it says, I'll read again. Alrighty. This shit is going really fast, but yeah. Alrighty.
Looks like he needs vitamin B. The
Yeah.
guy.
That's
Monte
him
Urbano.
older. Yeah. I think that's him at 45 years old or something like that. The other one is he's like at 30, I think 37 or something like I forget. He was younger, but he looks older in his younger picture, which is strange.
It's a handcrafted map of the world divided into 60 color plates.
60?
Yeah, color plates.
Yeah.
These are different
Oh,
plates.
that's interesting. 60.
Alrighty.
60.
And that map accompanied a 4-volume geographical treaty published by Monte in 1590 called Universal Treaty, Description and Location of All Known Earth So Far, which is very well detailed and decorated. And the maps serve not only as a geographic tool, but also to display weather, fauna, habits, length of the day, information about the eclipses of the sun, the direction of the winds, and the distances with regions. Therefore, it's a universal scientific planisphere.
So how about the mythologic, figures over there? Like, like the people have, have serpents, have boys, I don't know, coming out of the waters and all that thing. It's like it cannot be only scientific. It's like highly also, there's also mythology into this.
Exactly. But if he's saying that it's a scientific,
Yes.
geographical tool for eclipses, for
Right.
the suns, for the winds, for the longitudes, right? There are many, apart from being those fantastical fantasy land, it's also a tool.
Yep.
That's his
Or
description.
yeah, all
Yeah,
of
go
this
ahead.
is what they want us to believe, that this is a geographic scientific thing, and that's it. Maybe that's not. Maybe it's more than that. Maybe that's also that. But
Or maybe at the time, those animals or those creatures that we consider mythological, perhaps they could have been something of part of the flora and the fauna back then. Who's to say? I mean, there's so much that they've removed from history. I could tell you, I have a book of beasts, right? And it's a bestiary. And this book goes back like maybe 600-700 years. And it's a British. I have one that's a British bestiary, and that's things like 600 pages. And I also have one from T.H. White. This guy wrote The Once and Future King, the King Arthur story, and both of which have creatures that are like matter of fact type creatures, like a dog or a cat or a giraffe. They have griffins and dragons and things of that nature, and they speak about them as if they see them on a daily basis. Rhinoceros, lions, they speak about them within the company of animals like this, because it's as if these were just part of what everyday life had to offer. You understand? And this is coming from a bestiary, or two different bestiaries.
sometimes it's hard to believe that those things, those beasts, are like natural or part of the creation, because they don't seem to be in harmony with the environment. But what I believe I understood again in our ancient text is the possibility that before the flood, people managed to how can I say that, to mix human flesh with animal flesh, like some
Genetic
kinds of
engineering.
chimeras. Yes, it's possible. The way it's written, we can understand this, that they corrupted the flesh. That means that they could have used like some kind of genetics, or some kinds of I don't
Yeah,
know, breeding half animals, half people, whatever.
yeah.
It's
Because we
possible.
see,
That is
yeah,
also possible, but we don't know.
because
But
we see centaurs. We see centaurs all over the South. We see well, not minotaurs, but you see centaurs. You see a bunch of mermen, or things that look like men, coming out the water with, the torso, the upper half of men, and then the lower half of what appears to be the serpentine, or fish like. You have those little monkey ladies with breasts and everything else like that. Just looks totally weird. I think you have a harpy in there. You might have had a harpy or two in there that
yeah,
I may have
but
forgot. Yeah,
you see, you also have like an animal, like some kind of a monkey,
yeah.
at one point, that looks into the mirror, and you can see that in the mirror, the reflection of his face is a human face.
Is a person. Yeah.
I don't know if you caught that. Like
Hmm.
his soul is human. Like what's inside him, it's human, but his envelope is like a monkey. So it's possible we're talking here about maybe things that are being that do reference to like some kind of, like, I don't know, genetic modification of 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 the flesh at one point. I don't know, whatever they however they could have done it. I don't know, but they had knowledge,
Yeah, but
back
in
then.
all Sam, in all cultures they show the presence of genetic engineering. They
Hmm.
have
Yeah.
gods mixed with
Yep.
animals,
Yep.
right? What is that? Looks
Well,
Well,
like genetic engineering more than anything else,
yeah,
right?
and they speak
if
about
it's
Zeus, especially gods like Zeus was notorious for flying down in a woman's lap. A eagle having sex with a woman, or a puddle of gold having sex with a woman, and then creating some, hybrid god creature.
well,
This,
it,
especially with
it,
the Greek myths,
it,
this
it,
is crazy with it.
it must have happened because, very simply, there are laws in the Torah that it is forbidden to have
Mm,
a woman, stand, in front of an animal for reproduction. This is the
mhm.
term in Hebrew for lerivia. That means to procreate. That means one of the commandments of God, is to say, it's forbidden for human being to procreate with an animal. Now it can mean many things. It can have also like a different meaning, but maybe it also reflects the darker reality. In Egypt, you see all these people, with like half men, half beasts, with the head of lions, crocodiles, whatever.
Right.
So we don't know. We don't know what the hell they've done. To force actually God to wipe out all that stuff, to just like get rid of all these abominations there. But
Yeah.
we don't know. But they were advanced. They knew things that we don't know, that we forgot. Thank God.
Yeah, the Sumerians too, right? They also had those hybrids and huge giants and hybrids in the Vedics, right? Also in the Zoroastrian,
Yep.
it shows the whatever the entity or the being with wings.
Yeah. I think those might have been called the Lamasu. They have the head of, it looks like a man with a beard, and the body of a I don't even know, it might be a bull with wings, and it looks like instead of 4 legs, it's got like 5 legs.
Oh yeah, and some with fishes, some who have bodies of fishes also,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, there was a king of Greece. I think it might have. Yeah, it was Greece at one time, named Cecrops or Serops, the first king of Athens, I believe.
Oh,
And
yes?
he's on. Yeah, he's on the coins in Greece, and he's like half man, half serpent. Instead of
What, are you
legs,
kidding
he's
me?
got. I'm dead serious. The first king
Wow.
of Athens was
So,
Serops. Yep.
wow. So I'm going to tell you why it's interesting, because, maybe things you don't know, in the Christian, teachings, but we know that in Judaism, that Pharaoh, after after the sea that opened up and swallowed this entire army, Pharaoh didn't die, but he moved on and he became the king of a city called Nineveh.
Nineveh.
Yeah, Nineveh. However, this city is being said to, that you need 3 days to cross it. You understand? So it's not Nineveh that we know in Iraq. And according to what I believe I understood, it's actually Athens. It's like he created the first democracy. He went over there. It was about the same period of time. It's in the same time when you calculate the period of time when that happened. It was about the same time. So it's interesting what you're saying, and of course, it's a snake. Is also reference to the snake as a crocodile. Of course, that's
Right.
very interesting. I'll check that out.
Yeah. Oh yeah, even in the Mayans, they have the Quetzalcoatl, right? You have in the Vedics all these the Nagas and all these, right? And they have capability to shapeshift also,
Mhm.
right?
Oh,
So it's almost like the reptilians taking shapes of humanoids in a way,
Yep.
right? And the dragon is also in a lot of cultures is depicted. The
Right.
dragon in the Norse, in the Chinese, in the Mayans, in the Sumerians, right?
It's funny that David Weiss got that. He had that encyclopedia from like 100, 200 or so years ago. I also have an encyclopedia from 1933 I just bought off of eBay, and it shows the same thing, dragon. You look up the definition of dragon and it says a brilliant creature, nearly extinct or
yeah, nearly
rare.
extinct. Exactly. Yeah.
Yep, or rare
Yes.
dragon.
Yes. Funny.
So it's also funny how those, like everything that you guys are naming, the Nagas and the the hybridized serpents, like you can see them all over the Egyptian quote unquote mythology as well, with Sobek, the god. I think he's one of those gods that you meet in the afterlife that's got the head of a crocodile and the body of a man.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
they're totally everywhere.
Well, we're talking here about like monsters and half human, half beasts, and I'm starting to understand, maybe where the NASA's board of directors, comes from now.
Mm-hmm. But what I find strange in Urbano Monte's map is that he doesn't have mention of what they call cynocephaly, or the dog head people. And
Okay.
I figure with everything that he's got in his map, that's one of those things that if I was brand new to seeing this map with all of those strange things in there, I would expect to at least see one cynocephaly. And you have in the well, not necessarily the traditional or Western Christian faith, but you have an example of that would be Saint Christopher. And he's one of the patron saints. I think of travel. Yes, that's what it is. Saint Christopher is the patron saint of travel. And he is said to have been a cynocephaly, a dog-headed person. And they are said to come from around the Himalayas, they come from India, the cynocephaly. I don't know if Vikka, if you might be familiar with them, but or maybe in Greece they're called cynocephaly. In the Indian culture they're called something different. But in and around that region is where they traditionally come from. And I'm surprised that I don't see any of that on this map.
Don't have exactly the idea how could these people be called there in the Vedic part, but yeah, there are supposed to be beings.
Vikka, you're roboting.
Oh yeah, there are mentions of some gods or some beings or some creatures who are like two-faced dogs. They also have in Greek culture or the Cerberus or something. Yeah. So they have it also in the Vedic. The same thing. The same thing goes with Indra, right? The same thing goes with Poseidon and Zeus, right? The names are very similar. It's almost the same thing, right? I've done a whole podcast on that where I'm going in detail about how that culture took it, like, because it's all the same thing, right? Zeus is Jesus, right? It's the same thing. The Greeks' main god is Zeus, which is very similar to the Christian god Jesus, right? Jesus, right? So it goes very similar. Yep. So we'll continue this. There's some amazing stuff here too. One moment. So the planisphere, the map remained practically disappeared and unknown till modern times.
Look at that.
It's not uncommon for these types of map to be mysteriously hidden from the public. It was obtained by David Rumsfeld Center for Maps, Stanford Library, California. This map center scanned all 60 sheets and put them all together. Digitally, an assembled map ended up being roughly around 3.30 meter in diameter, being one of the largest map in the world, made in the 16th century.
So that's also interesting, the size of the map. Why would you make a map of such a big size? Okay, you have a lot of details, so it's better, it's big, but it's not made to be read, if you put it together on a table. So
no, it's speaking about 3.3 meters.
Yes,
3 meters is a huge map.
That's what I'm saying. Why do you have to make a map with such dimensions? There are other maps of the world that are also details, even today's, that don't need three like 9 square meters or 10 square meters, to show themselves. So that's also interesting, because it's not the kind of map you can put on a table, even though it was divided into 60 pieces. I understand that, but I think the idea was to maybe put that together, like,
Yeah, it looks like when I went to go see it, that's what it was. And even though it was it looked like it was in a, I forget what the measurement. It was like a 13 inch by 16 and a half almost inch leaves of paper, or the best I could give you is paper. I don't even know what the composition is of that stuff.
Probably vellum.
Right. So it's like 13 by 16 and a half. I measured it, and it's just wild that each of those, there are around 144 or 147 individual leaves of that stuff, but they're all properly numbered. and they're numbered in a fashion to where you're like, all right, this is number 7. It's like 7G. It's like set up in a grid fashion to where you know exactly where to put what, and then you can reassemble it. It's pretty cool. It's like a series of Garbage Pail Kids cars, you know,
like a jigsaw, right? Or
yeah.
puzzle.
Well, it's even better than a jigsaw puzzle because it's laid out for you and it's numbered appropriately and how to stitch it or put it back together.
The very important question for me, that when you saw this pieces of maps there, did you see anything that could indicate that that map was originally assembled together and that it was cut off, or was it like made originally, like in 60 pieces to put together?
Or maybe it was scaled up, or maybe it was scaled up that way.
Well, it wasn't cut. It doesn't look like it was cut. You understand? It doesn't look like it was. It looked like it was deliberately put on a sheet of paper, or the best I could say, a sheet of paper. But it was put on that stuff, right? It was printed on that stuff, and then because outside of each individual piece of the map, you have the rest of the paper. You have, for example, like I could show it to you guys. Let me. If you don't mind, Vikka, I'm gonna show you
ahead, bro.
some map. I mean, I've done it like a zillion times. I don't know if you guys are tired of it or not, but
no, if we're still here.
Yeah, right. But I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna show y'all some of this map, right? And I'm probably gonna run, just leaf by leaf as soon as I get to it. Just bear with me. All right, there we go. Let me get this thing up. Okay. Boom. Let me present.
I understand that there are 2 copies of this map. There's one in Ramsey, whatever university or library, I don't know. And there's another one. Is it true, or because on internet you have 2 copies?
So we have this one, which that's an empty box in which it came, and that's the map. The outside of the map itself.
Yeah, that's vellum. That's vellum. This is
right.
Calf or sheep skin.
Sheepskin, yeah, something like that. And you could feel the texture as well. But that's it. Man, I think I took a picture of it, but hold on, let's see. So you see how the outside of it, right? Do you see my so even though this is the smaller map, Vikka, I might have sent you copies of this right here earlier today.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so this is the smaller map, basically an example of what Monte's map is, right? But you can see how you've got the outside, you've got that border.
But the thing is, there are different details on these ones than the main map.
Right, totally.
Well, you mean that all the details are on this small map too?
There are different details. It's not the same details.
So maybe they didn't have the time to modify this one.
They probably didn't look either.
So that's interesting.
So you see how you've got this is first page, right? Tavola Prima. And so you see how you have just this border, this extra page, right? So that's the North Pole and everything else. And I'm sure we can find, you see where it says Groenland. We could find where that is on the map, but this is like the first page. And then you can see the rest of the map outside. Well, not even the rest of the map, but the rest of the page. And then this is what it looks like right here. You see? So this essentially is
so there's 4 tables, four pages like this. That's a quarter of the map.
So I mean, of course, you've got more map. Hold on.
No, that's a quarter. That's 25% of the map.
No, because hold on. Let's go back.
Okay.
No, because hold on. Let's see. Can I zoom in here? Yeah, sure I can. Okay. So this is
no, that's not.
Yeah, you see, because you still this is just the Arctic right here.
Yes. So it's a quarter of the top. Okay, understand.
Yeah. So it's
not
still
even,
it's still evenly broken up. You know what I'm saying? and then we could continue, and then yeah, this is, I think it's that same page. Yeah, it's the same page, and I just got it at different angles. I wanted to see if I could zoom in and possibly snap some features that we wouldn't be able to see elsewhere. You understand? We wouldn't be able to pick up digitally. Oh, there was a bunch of stuff that I did with these pictures, man. Just so I could see, hey, is there something kind of like this smudged out thing right here?
Well,
This little
no,
marked out 86 right here. Like you find these imperfections all over the place.
You know the G on top there. What does
Right
it
here.
mean? Yeah.
I don't know, but it could be God, it could be gold, it could be.
Well, in Freemasonry, the G is the main letter. That's the main,
Yeah, and the Freemason symbol actually has that G in the middle. And this is something. Yeah, this is something that we showed a couple of weeks ago, and I'd mentioned on my show a few times about how what's his name? What's that dang Mercator? Right, Gerardus Mercator. How he's seen in a picture holding a compass, and a piece of the compass is laid down on the map. As a matter of fact, a piece of the compass is on this thing right here. You see that little mountain area? I think it's that one. No, it's not that one exactly, but it's on one of those mountains. And then the rest of the compass is projected up above the G, kind of to symbolize the symbol of the Freemasons. Excuse me for tripping over my words all day. But here's more of the map, and you could see just outside of the map. You know what I'm saying? You can see
here,
outside.
It's about like 51 degrees. And it looks like also a compass, that thing, the form of a compass also.
What's where? Oh, this?
Yes, the entire thing. It's like, it looks like the form of a compass, So there's
totally
51
does.
degrees. 51 degrees. He cuts that at 51. Why not 52? Why not 60? 51 degrees.
He sure does.
So 51. Why 51?
99. 55. Let me see if I have. Let me see.
No, it's possible that this can be used as a. I don't know how you say that in English.
Cipher?
As a reference to find other things on the big map. Like it's a small sample of the map. It's just like something maybe made.
Exactly. This is what I think too, right? Because the information is not the same. The general maybe, but there is a lot more different information on the smaller map.
Yep.
Page 2.
So I also wanted to go on the same map we are speaking about. Can you go back later? Just can you flip through these images? I'll tell you which one.
You could see them, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
okay.
we see them.
The main one, which looks like a book, which has the whole map.
Okay, yeah.
So what's different over there? Do you see something?
I'll tell you. Yeah, this one. This is the image we're gonna explore once I finish what I wanted to show. Right, Vlad?
Yeah.
So we need to go and we need to zoom in this.
Okay.
Yeah.
You want me to get off, or you want me to zoom in?
No, we will go into it in a bit. I will take this off the screen. I will show some things, and then we will get into this map.
Sure. I'll stop sharing. Boom.
Alrighty. So I'm gonna present the same as a video file. Alrighty. Alrighty. So. Alrighty. So these maps and put them all together. Alrighty. Digitally and assembled map ended up being roughly over 3.3 meters in diameter, being one of the largest map in the world, made in the 16th century.
That's also
it's unique in history and cartography. The map evidently presents a flat Earth model. Yeah. What were you saying, Sam?
No, just saying 330. It's also like 33 refers to masonry. It's possible.
Good call.
3.3 meters.
Wow. Yeah, that's true.
Alrighty. Of course, immediately after the map center put it all parts together, the map of the flat Earth will remain before everyone's gaze. They said that Monte Urbano the translation is really bad, but yeah, was supposedly shown the entire Earth as a close to a sphere as possible, three-dimensionally using a two-dimensional surface. However, that was the map is quietly obvious and clear, represents the Earth seen from the top, directly over the North Pole, which is in the center, a perspective that former cartographer hardly used according to the story they have told.
Wow, fucking propaganda.
Yep. I love how they try to wrap it around the ball. That's so
Yeah,
ridiculous. And it's
like
terrible looking.
fucking North Korean tactics.
Yeah.
And in addition to being an irrefutable reference of the shape of the Earth, this wonderfully masterpiece of geographical knowledge, it surprises us with multiple lands and surrounds the circle of the world.
Oh yes. So where's the globe now? If the world has a circle,
Exactly.
I'm sure Brenda could explain it to us.
only Brenda.
The map is a treasure. Other maps of the Earth also represent what we know as the Antarctic continent. It's a circular landmass shape that surrounds the planet, the so-called planet. The map of the Monte Urbano does not have Australia as we know it, but shows a
Oh,
large
yeah?
landmass where it is supposed to be on the map. You can see unicorns, griffins, mermaids, and other mysterious, fantastic
Here's Brenda.
creatures.
Yep. Thunderbirds.
It also shows cities in the North America where there should be no cities.
Yep. They
And you
even
see
have
it
the
doesn't,
Appalachian mountain change. Yeah.
it doesn't show animals. There's no animals there. Why not?
Yeah, there is on the left.
Yeah,
You
but
see here, there's a goat.
Very little.
Yeah.
Compared to Antarctica. Very little. Like 1 or 2 for the Africa, or 3 animals, or 4, I don't know, not more.
You even have apparently you even had a camel in Australia.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And here it said the Sahara Desert is not even close to its current size.
Right.
In fact, it is even there are more small deserts located in the vicinity of Sahara.
Yep.
Right? You see how green it is.
Oh yeah. And all those lakes too.
Today we can see lakes, rivers, trees, and creatures, animals.
Yeah.
What is important? We can see cities or towns in places where scientists say there shouldn't be. Any. On the other hand, some of the places that we know today are found on the map where they are supposed to be. This to say that the map was accurate. The time, the differences that we see in the specific details must be attributed to when the map was actually created. And there is no definitive information on whether Monte Urbano compiled the map based on an original research of the time or if it was used from older sources.
100%. It cannot. That map could have never have been made in 1 year, or even 10 years. I believe it's a lifetime to do that, and you need like a lots of information, lots of other documents to do that. You cannot do that alone. I don't
Exactly. One person cannot do this. The amount
No.
of details inside there to travel around and make everything one person, no resources.
It's a stolen map. It's something that has been stolen from somewhere, and they just like made it theirs. Like I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah. Now he
Yeah,
gives
make
credit.
their own version.
Yeah,
Exactly.
he has a box with the credits. He's got those. He's got the Cortezes and the Ptolemies and Marco Polo and Pigafettas and all them. You know, those guys they're credited, and then you've got other names that I'm not too familiar with in there. But there's some of those that are credited. I don't know in which way
Yes.
they lend their you know, what their findings and stuff to the map, but it's wild.
Oh yeah. Sources, we see that the Europe is detailed, everything is in place. All the cities, many things are
Well,
very well
well,
in detail.
can you come back a little bit, because it shows Paris in the west, in the
Exactly,
east,
and Spain they show everything, all the major cities and everything.
but it's not in the right place. Paris is not in the right place at all. If you come back a little bit, like 30 seconds, see, check it out. Paris is, look at that. Paris is over there.
Oh, I see it in the top right.
So that's what, see, those are codes. That's not, I don't know. And at the time, like 2,000 years ago, it was like called Lutèce. It wasn't called Paris, but at the time of 1500, it was
Right.
called Paris.
Huh.
And even the Spain, you see it shows so detailed. All right, I'll play again. So we can see that, you see here,
Yeah, yep.
Spain, you can actually, if you see that part, after when we zoom in on the images, we can see that it's full. You can see the Granada and all exactly how Spain is, even today.
Right. Wow.
Yeah,
What?
but how come they place Paris in Switzerland?
Yeah. Oh man, I didn't know England owned that part of Spain. See where it says Britannia?
Yeah. Also, England owned Bordeaux on the the west coast of France. It was also a colony, British colony for a while. But look at Paris. Where's Paris?
Yeah.
So
Yeah, after we
doesn't
we
fluctuate.
will go on the image with Vlad, and we'll try to scan that. Alrighty, we'll continue.
Okay. Frisia.
You see, even in the pyramid, the Egyptian pyramids are also there on the map.
Yes, I saw that last time.
Do you see the canoe running north?
Where?
I don't
On
know
the
if that's an
Nile?
island or if that's a canoe.
I think it's an island.
Okay, I thought that was a canoe for a second. I was
Where
like,
is it
wow.
It's gonna be so huge, that canoe, right?
Yeah,
Because it's almost the
that's
size of pyramids.
Oh no,
yeah.
it's not. It's an island. Yeah, of course, it's not. It's not a
Okay.
canoe.
I was like,
But
that's
what
a
are
big
those
old canoe.
red things that like cities? Like
Those
looks
are
like
cities.
a factory.
Those are cities. Those or they're like cities. They're all over the map.
But cities back then didn't have like high buildings like this. Like looks like factories. Like it's crazy.
It could be churches. Yeah, could be.
Yes, churches, I believe, more than.
Right.
But of course, a church has to be in the city. They cannot put a church in the desert.
Like when they
Those
show
is-
Paris, it looks like they show Notre Dame as well.
Yes. So that's a Catholic, maybe a Catholic map to show a Catholic world, Catholic, possessions.
Yeah, but how is it a Catholic map in Egypt? Why are they
Well,
showing the pyramids, and why are they showing those temples or whatever, right?
well,
Or
pyramids were there, always there, so
Yeah.
there's no problem to show them. But they put all those churches there. If it's churches, it shows you like like camps, like bases, Catholic bases.
Yep.
I don't know.
alrighty. So the Egyptian pyramids are also there on the map, as well as the city of Cairo.
You see that there are
You
no
see
dots.
Cairo. You see Cairo right there,
Yep.
the main
Yep.
city.
Yeah. The Nile doesn't have no dots, like the still waters, like lakes and
Oh,
the
right,
sea.
right.
So like there is nothing to pinpoint over there.
On this map, it is ruined a province, a river, and a lake. We observe that
Tartaria.
12 kings are represented on the map of Urbano Monte. You think
12
that they are
kings.
the most influential nobles, the rulers who manage the destiny of the people.
Yep.
12 kings.
Is it 12?
Yep.
Okay.
That can refer to a lot of things, like, you know.
World in
12
America. As
apostles.
you can see, unrecognizable and well-defined rivers, coastline, and not just coastal cities, but also cities in the interior of the continent, lakes, mountain ranges, everything is there. What does that mean? That by then all this territory was explored, learned, mapped. It will be necessary to see what type of cities are these, and in North America, deep in Alaska, we find dimensions of Tatars, summer training camps of the
You see,
Tatars.
yeah, people,
They're
yeah,
like
they
nomads.
live like Tartars. It's written.
They're nomads. Just about.
Yeah,
They
but
just pick up and go.
in the Tartarian fashion.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Get at.
Alrighty. It means that this territory had been studied, mapped, indicating mountains, rivers for forest cities, and the summer camps of the Tatars. A curious thing is that Acadia colony, a New France in northern eastern North America, it was founded in 1600, and the map dates from 17 years is a little different, but there is also only the map creation dates and the founding dates of Acadia. Acadia is supposed to be one of the cities in North America
Mm.
that is shown on the map. But there's another interesting things. See how America is, right? You see how big is America, right?
Oh yeah.
So, and it's represented how it's represented. And now you see one other map. Now see this map. Let's compare it to more modern atlas from 1742 by a cartographer named Gom something, right? You see,
Mm-hmm.
America is not completed on the atlas,
Right.
right? So this atlas is from 1742 by somebody named Gom something, and
Right.
is not completed. It's a more recent atlas map which don't have America completed, right? So
Right.
by Gom Delile, 150 years earlier, on Monte Urbano showed it completed. The fact that 150 years before 1742, judging from these two maps, the territory of North America was known, and at least it wasn't just a blank spot in the world.
Mm-hmm.
World Atlas, something quite strange.
Yep.
Well,
And Africa, yeah, go ahead.
we know that, you know, Leif Erikson, a Catholic Viking, you know, discovered, you know, the northern coast of Canada in the year 1001, you know, according to what it's written officially.
Right.
So he was a Catholic Viking. He knew it was the son of a king, and he knew the Pope. So we can deduct out of this that they knew about the Americas like 500 years before they, you know, staged that the discovery. So they
Mm-hmm.
had the time, you know, in 500 years to study the lands there and to know what was going on. So maybe this map was made by a, you know, Viking or something before that, and they took it and they just, like, you know, completed it or modified it. I don't know, but it's yeah, it's a good point. It's a good point that the map is, and it takes decades. It takes lots of time to know, you know, the entire, you know, geography of the you know, of the Earth. It takes lots of time, and at the time they didn't have like planes or whatever. You know, every trip in a boat was taking like years.
Mm.
It's like 2, 3 years, 4 years to go and come back, and you know, and how much can you walk? How much
Yeah.
can you? So
Exactly. Even today, they don't have even digital maps that is so
of
much
course,
in details, right?
yes,
Unless it's just a photo composite, right? Stitched
of
together.
course. And I believe that it's also secret knowledge, because you know, the establishment, it doesn't have any interest of, you know, like spreading around, you know, the map of the Earth in details, because that's a strategic. It's like a military, like, you know,
Right.
position. It's very dangerous, because if you have the map of the Earth, you can do lots of stuff. You can do,
Oh
you
yeah.
can plan invasions, you can plan things, you can do a lot of things. So it's not information they have to, you know, to give to the public. I believe.
Right.
So
Kind of like
it
the
happened.
whole Pacific Ocean, how between Australia and South America it's totally empty, and they want you
Yeah.
to believe it's completely empty, and it just
Yeah.
looks it just looks too empty for its own good. It's ridiculous.
That's what I'm saying. It's like it's a map is secret knowledge.
Hmm.
It's like, you know, showing like it is written in the Torah, to show the nakedness of the earth, like, you know,
Hmm.
to show it like naked.
Yeah.
You,
By concealing, yeah, you're not
i-
really showing it in its total glory.
yeah. If you know exactly what looks the earth, you can conquer it. You can
Mhm.
possess it. You can, you know. But if you don't know, you
Oh
cannot do
yeah,
nothing.
this is the thing, guys. We are missing very key information here, right? It's showing on another map from Atlas 150 years after Monte Urbano, and
Right.
doesn't have America as known. And the Monte Urbano has a detailed map of the world, including the Americas and everything that exists there, all the cities and everything. That's crazy.
Totally.
Judging
So
from these
that
two maps, the territory of the North America was known, and it at least wasn't just a blank spot in the world.
that's admitting that it was really created in 1587. You know, maybe it was not created in 1587. It's not the right date. And actually, when you look at the date, it looks like it was corrected. It doesn't look like it. I don't believe it was made in 1587. I believe it has to be done like before that, not after. I don't believe so. It will make
Oh yeah,
sense, but I believe
when we
it's
spoke about the
before.
1587 being the eye, right? So there's itself, it's a huge rabbit hole there about the actual date of the map.
Well, I tell you something. Um, Again, come back with my books of the Torah, but there is a way to understand that the King Solomon discovered, you know, at least Southern America, you know, according to the text, because he sent, you know, boats at that time. They used to go to a place called Eferia, and they used to bring back parrots and gold from there. And it took like 3 years. The round trip used to take like 3 years. And when you investigate, I'm going to spare you, you know, how you do that. But when you investigate, you understand that it was, you know, in those lands were known at the time of Solomon. Solomon knew those lands. I don't know what they did, if they sent people there, but I know they were bringing back parrots, and parrots are, you know, in South America. There
Right.
was no parrots. I'm not an expert in that, but I believe it was, you know, proper to South America. So uh, you know, it's very possible that, you know, there are maps that are much more much older than this, that were stolen, of course, you know,
Right.
and they've been around a long time, and they've been used to discover America. It's not the country. It's not because you discovered
Right. Right.
America that you know the map. Because you had the map, so you knew that where the land was.
Mhm.
So it is possible. It's very old map. It's a very old map that's been, like, you know, reloaded.
Yeah.
All right,
So,
strange. And Africa looks green and flourishing, riddled with network of deep.
Look at all those lakes. All over the Sahara, all those lakes.
the thing is the
Deep
letters.
rivers. Other points of importance on this map is the drawing of Region de Giganti, region of giants, where two large men appear today called Patagonia.
Patagonia. Yeah.
The Patagonian giants are a mythical people of giants that appeared in the first European reports of the southern Atlantic coast of South America region. For that reason, received the name the region of gigantic Patagonia, like huge feet. It could be one of the translations, right? Here's another thing why it's is no surprised by how Antarctica was depicted by the ancient cartographers. This is a full projection of the atlas world. What you see here is all those lands, they are unknown to.
So that's what's incoherent, because it was not in the interest of the Catholic Church to show such a map, or to show that the Antarctica was all around the Earth, because they've spent so much in order to build that globe lie, that is not in their interest to show the truth. So that's why I believe it's not a map. It's an ancient map, much more ancient map, and they wrote on that map, and they tried to to make it kosher somehow, to make it like kosher their way, then you understand, because they would have never make such a map, never, because it goes against the lie they've been engineered for so long. So I don't know.
Yeah, they put their seals of approval all over the place on that map.
Yes.
Literal
So
seals of approval.
they found that map. That map came up, came into the light. They could not, keep it from going into the light. So they managed to put their seal on it, put their print on it. I don't know what to tell you. It's weird.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm certain Urban Monte did not build that, did not create that map. It's all bullshit. It's not the date. It's not that guy. It's bullshit. It's something else.
So this is the thing. Google Earth wanted to adapt the map, map, and fit it on a globe to a digital globe, and this was the result. You see how they're trying to? They're not showing the north, and they're not showing the south.
Mm-hmm.
I saw that.
Right? Because it doesn't fit. It's not going to fit. So go around at this angle in the video. Why not show the north and the south poles? Perhaps because years later, the South Pole would be represented like this. You see, it's nothing. It's supposed to be nothing. Precisely with nothing already. Why hide those lands? And no one said anything how the South Pole is represented on the map of Monte Urbano, right? This is the problem. The people we're not asking why the South was represented, how it represented like a ring of fertile land.
You see also the way they write the Mediterranean Sea, like me, die, tear. It's like it's coded. It's like I don't know. It's you understand? It's odd. It's odd. It's not like I don't see any. And then you have Reaneo there, and they cut the word. They just it's like full of codes. It's full of codes.
Oh yeah.
For something else.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Monte Urbano, but there is a KMG file for the Google Earth program which can be downloaded, and you can see the projection of the atlas on a globe world as below. You see, you cannot fit. It doesn't fit. It seems.
They tried to make it work, boy. They did try.
You see that? Yeah, the people try to do it to show that it's not working. You see how it looks?
Yeah, it doesn't work. It doesn't work because it's fake.
Yeah.
It's not true.
Good try.
Even the model, even with this being a model, the model is wrong.
Exactly. So the people who say that the AE map or the Gleason map is from the globe, it's not possible.
No. It's all distorted, like their fucking minds.
Absolutely. Try, people need to wake the hell up. Yeah.
They did try. You got to give them that. They tried.
And prove that it's not working. So it seemed that here the plane could not be adapted well to the balloon. So if this cannot be adapted, the Monte Urbano cannot be adapted, nor the Gleason can be. So it cannot come, the globe. The Gleason cannot come from the globe. What's up in the right up corner is probably Australia, but does not match.
So if you go back a little bit, Vika, just probably 10 seconds or so. Let's see where you at. Okay, there's that. I'll tell you when. And hold on a sec. It's going to get there. If you pause it right now, see that right there? That looks like that would be New Zealand and that other piece. That looks like that's what that might be, And that green, the more greener part is Australia. I'm thinking possibly that might be it. That might be where Australia is.
Oh yeah, maybe, yeah.
And then you've got that piece that looks like it's connected to, that's broken away from the smaller piece. That might be New Zealand, and I think is it Auckland that's next to New Zealand? Or that piece of island, I forget which. And it's just oriented weird, and we're just not used to seeing that. But then you've got that island next to it. I think that's Terra Gaiaca, right? They call it Terra Gaiaca, the one right next to what I'm calling Australia, or Nova Brasilia, maybe. And I don't think we've ever. Yeah, go ahead.
Oh yeah, it goes really fast. If you want to catch it up, let's see.
Yeah.
So it's trying to also explain why even Australia is not feeling very well there.
Yeah.
Or how the South Pole is represented on the map of Monte Urbano. But there is a KMZ file for the Google Earth program which can be downloaded, and you can see the projection of the atlas on the globe world also below. And it seemed that here the plane could no longer be adapted to the balloon, which is in an upper right corner is probably Australia, but does not match for nothing. The Antarctica of Monte Urbano, it's going very fast. Land to see that with the currents of the spherical. It's too fast. Model, that's funny. This is to see why Antarctica is separate from why Australia is separated from Antarctica. Right. It's going too fast for me to read, but maybe you guys will catch it.
It's almost as if the newer maps, something, I don't know what happened, maybe like some kind of reformation of what, I don't know, but the more contemporary maps could be missing items because they were getting permission at the time to say, hey, can we say that this stuff is here? And could we just leave it missing for now until we say that it's been discovered or rediscovered? Do you think, perhaps?
Wait, I just had a crazy idea. Crazy fucking idea. You see that the maps of the European maps is like is detailed and everything, but you see the shape is not exactly the same. Paris is like way to the east and everything. But then in that map also, the second thing is that I see a lot of Tartaria all over the fucking place. And what I believe, out of people's studies, is that at one time there was like a meltdown of the earth, of the land, of the soil. Somehow, I don't know what the fuck happened, but we can see that the buildings being buried and everything. So maybe does that map takes that in consideration? Maybe what you see that's like land that was there before the meltdown or after, I don't know. Because if land melted down, that changes the maps. Sorry. Just like brings buildings down the ground, it changes the maps.
Right.
If there was like at an international level, to a world level, there was some kind of like soil melting down, some shit, I don't know.
Right.
It has to affect the maps.
Right. And maybe it puts the sea and gives it access to places where it otherwise wouldn't be.
Yes.
Okay.
Ancient places before the flood, the meltdown. I don't know. But it's I think it's about the same period of time. I don't know. I don't remember. The studies. When did they figure out that these buildings, like were buried or got down the ground there? I don't know what time, what period of time it was, but that's possible.
And you see this on this planet sphere, Australia is not completed.
Yep.
Why?
And I think they said they discovered Australia in the 1700s, right? Or is it the 1800s? I think they said. I forget which. I think they said the 1800 they discovered Australia, was it?
I don't remember the exact date, but this is the thing. They were trying to show places and hide places. This is what it looks like, right? Before was North America, now is Australia. Like how some people have doubt that Australia might just not be a freaking island. That they want us to believe, right? Could be. Alrighty, so we'll continue. So the North Pole, there's also differences with the one they show us today.
Right. Nice and empty. Look at that.
This map also provides extended information about Japan, which was not founded on the other Western maps created at that time.
Yeah.
Got that?
Oh, yeah. If you look at Japan now, they said Japan was huge compared to Italy. And some of the things that Monty says in the map also is he's like the size of Japan. And these guys, these guys were very good with their scaling as well. They were very good and very precise with their scales of things. He said that the size of Japan compared to Italy, I forgot what exactly but in other words, he said it was huge. It was like 4 times the size of something like that. Now, they say that Japan is like 25% bigger than Italy or something along those lines. It's different. It's totally different.
Yeah, this is I think this is showing Japan. I think so. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
It said Japan.
Japan. Japan.
Yeah, and it's showing all these a huge island, a huge one. You see that?
Oh yeah, makes sense if Marco Polo's getting credit for the map as well. All the stuff that he might have taken a look at.
We went too much behind. So it's gonna show. Keep an eye just before it starts saying about Japan, and you're gonna see how huge. You see how huge is Australia. The size comparison with other things that should be like half of Asia, right?
Yeah.
Or almost the Asia. You see?
Yeah.
That's supposed to be Japan. You see the size?
Yeah. Oh yeah. It's huge. It's huge.
It's like divided into like 4 zones or something, like 3 zones, like green, red, and white.
And white, yeah.
That also drives me crazy, those colors. Like, what the hell does that mean?
Yeah. But Japan is huge, and you see how close it is to the North American continent as well.
Oh yeah, you see how huge it is. It's crazy. Yeah. It's like how small they show us on the map, and then they're gonna telling, oh, they found so many islands in Japan, around Japan.
Yeah.
Alrighty. So it was not found on the other Western maps, this of Japan. Another mystery is that the map really provides details of the areas not yet discovered. in 1587. But it all seems very strange and contradictory. On one hand, it turns out that Monte was a brilliant geographer. How you say cartographer? Right, yeah, I'll play again. It just goes too fast, yeah, for me to read that fast, but yeah.
You know, when you want to hide secrets, you can place a secret in all kinds of, like, you know, different things that have nothing to do with it, like to distract people. So they're gonna, you know, they're gonna have some true information in that map, and they're gonna drown it into like a bunch of, like, you know, inaccurate shit or distractions that, you know, that, you know, that's gonna keep you away from, you know, looking in the right direction also as possible. I don't know, but it's not a map about geography, that's for sure. 1,000%. It's about more than that. For me, it's indications of like lost places, lost things that are like buried or down the sea or in the land, or, you know, ways to get to some places, or I don't know. There's like, it's a not a treasure map, but almost.
Yeah, could be.
Yeah.
So it clearly provides details about areas not yet discovered. In 1587, but it all seems very strange and contradictory. On the one hand, it turns out that Urbano was a brilliant geographer, and on the other hand, he did not know that the rotation of the Earth around the sun, that they would tell us officially, since a smaller sun is seen on the map with its trajectory drawn around the.
Yep. Yep.
You see, it's showing the path of the sun on the equator. It's showing even the compass pointing towards the north.
Yep.
It is also observed that the compass points to the north of the plane.
Yep.
Does not mean that this map is absolute truth, but yeah, whether it's false, many other documents or not, but maybe it's true, right? A lot of accuracy and interesting data. This map definitely has secrets and provides for much more analysis. Unfortunately, in order not to delve in deeper into the map analysis, some say Monte Urbano was kind of a fantasy cartographer because they don't want to look into it, right? How do you explain that at the time in 16th century, some ordinary person like Monte Urbano could map all of America 95 years after Columbus discovered it, right? It's not possible to have such a detailed map by one person just 100 years after the so-called Christopher Columbus discovered America. The whole world is right there in details. Right, an atlas drawn correctly and fairly detail ready. Making a map of the world with such a characteristic and the precision is very difficult, taking into account that in those days there were supposedly no planes, no positioning systems, neither telecommunications nor technologies we know today. Nothing which of a map that magnitude could be created according to what we have been officially told. So how did an ancient cartographer manage to create a map so detailed that still you can superimpose it on a world and get a surprising match? That's a problem. That's a huge problem. You can superimpose it on any world map and you're going to have exact details of the geography. So how can one person do that?
So if he didn't do this, you know, who did that? And who could have done it? And why?
Exactly.
The thing is all written with like like regular characters. In Italian, in kind of modern Italian, not like not in like Latin or something. So if we could check the ink that was used to write all the whatever is written there, if it's the same ink than the ones that is been used for the drawings for the map, that'll be interesting, because you can see there are like lots of differences of like in the ink. There is like it's different. It's like sometimes it's thick, it's dark, sometimes it's light, it's like thinner, it's like it's not uniform.
It's not, but then this map is, you could see a lot of bleed through as well, a lot of water damage, and a lot of re-imaging, because it appears as if after they fold the page and then they spill their damn lunch, their soup, whatever, on the map, it kind of bleeds the ink and it makes a double image. You see what I'm saying? So it'll have like a reflective image of itself. It's weird. It's weird. But yeah.
So what do you think? It's an ancient map? They found it and they just like reloaded it?
I would say
believe so.
Yeah, I would say it's an old map. I would say it's an old map. How old? Man. I'd like to say that it's around maybe 300 years old, this map. I don't think it's
like more recent than what they say.
Yes, I'd say more recent. I would say more recent.
Why? What makes you say that?
I mean,
the names?
It's the names, it's the inconsistency, it's what's removed. And you know what? I guess to clarify what I'm saying, the updates go beyond 1587.
Yes, exactly. That means that if they hide, like those squares there, if they did hide something, that means that the map is older than when they did hide those things.
Right. So as far as updates is concerned, I'd say as far back as like the dang 1900s. I would dare to say the 1900s that they were tampering with this map.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. But the map itself, like the
age of this map,
yeah, that's the original.
With how well the colors holding up and everything else.
That's old.
But yeah, I don't know, because you see that lobster. If you look at the lobster on the Tropic of Cancer and the sun next to it, that's super red. That's really red. And
well, it can be retouched. It can be like
Yeah, it might have been. Yeah, but like you have deep red, and then you have pink, and then you have I don't know.
That's why there are many hands that touch that map, not the same hands. To write such a map on vellum was it's still very expensive. We write books of the Torah in vellum. It costs like $150, like a sheet of paper. Today is very expensive, and back then it must have been extremely expensive.
Oh yeah,
you understand? So and the technique to write on the vellum with special inks and special colors, those are like, this is knowledge that I don't think they had in the 1900s or 1800s. I think they lost that a long time ago. I think it was I know that we used to write on vellums like 4,000 years ago, 3,000 years ago, 4,000 years ago. We always wrote on vellum, but it was like secret knowledge. Scribes had that secret knowledge like nobody had. They could write a book, I tell you, with the ink they used to use for the scrolls of the Torah. It was made out of there were like few ingredients like honey and stuff. That means that the ink didn't crack. It could stay for like hundreds and thousands of years in mint condition. That means if you had found it like like yesterday, you couldn't believe that it was it had been made like thousands of years ago.
Right.
They had secrets how to to write and everything. Even a blind man could have read those books by just touching the ink and everything. It's a high technique. Today the books don't last much. You put a book in a drawer somewhere, after like 50 years it's all yellow already, like always.
Yeah.
But these books were made to hold, and
They were built
those
to
are
last.
secrets that are around a long time, but not everybody's got them.
Yeah.
I don't think this could be just a copy, right? This could just be a copy,
Yes,
because
also,
if
yeah,
it's available somewhere, it can be a replica, right, of the original stuff. And as you guys are saying, right, about the timeline and how old it could be, the base, the continents
yes,
are used to like fill it up with details, right? Some could be true, some couldn't be true, but the geography is real. It matches today's
Yeah.
geography, right? Today's Gleason map.
yeah,
It
roughly.
fits it.
Roughly it fits, because when you look again like at the map of like France and everything, it doesn't fit. Even the Middle East, it's not exactly the same.
Right.
It's not exactly the same, but it's like roughly it's the same.
Yeah.
But that's why I'm saying, if it was a map that was drawn like like hundreds of years ago, maybe 1,000 years, 2,000 years, I don't know. Well, it has to show the land before any of the catastrophes that we believe in,
Right.
like the flood, like the mud flood, what the fuck
Flood,
ever.
any
So
burning disaster that might have happened,
yeah,
right, along
and
couple of
catastrophes that should have affected the shape of the map,
right.
the borders. Because if you have like such a big mud flood at an international scale, swallowing buildings and everything, so of course it's not about just like cities, it's about the entire crust of the earth.
Yeah.
So it maybe this map represents the perfect, very precise map of the earth before
the mud flood, or
before the
before
mud
the
flood.
flood, right?
Yes.
Exactly.
That's what I believe is possible, because there is so many details about the countries, Japan and all that, that is not possible that the shape of the geographic, could not be
Changed.
precise. Yes, the
It's
precision that
changed. Yeah.
yes, you understand, it has to be as precise as all the information that there is in that map. So I believe that map is extremely precise, but it doesn't match exactly the dimensions of our borders today, because it's something that was drawn before those borders changed, from catastrophes.
Or maybe it's that ancient that it's, because you can see, as I mentioned about Sahara being green,
Yes.
right? Cities in America, right? There are many places that are having cities which are now shown as wastelands or badlands or
Exactly.
nature outbacks
Exactly.
or deserts, right? So there is an important change of geography in a way.
Of course.
My God, and just looking, if you look at Africa, like, my goodness, there's so many lakes and the Niger River is just
Exactly, and the
so
north
many
is crazy. The north is full green.
It's green, and it's got so
Exactly.
much access to water. It's not like it's a big desert without water and an oasis here and oasis there. No,
Exactly.
there's just so much access to water, different water.
Now, in order to reinforce that idea, we have to make sure, do the ancient civilizations used to travel at sea and everything. I know that they found like a huge boat in Egypt that could take like 5,000 sailors. It's on internet. You can see it. So I know that they could travel.
Yeah.
And I know that also the King Solomon was traveling. We know that all over the world.
Wow.
So the thing is that the Vikings also were like travelers. The Phoenicians were travelers.
And the blimps, bro, blimps could have been also technology.
Yes.
The airships. They're
Yes, I
quite slow. They have all the time to draw.
Yes. And I was thinking it was those blimps that help create those maps, if anything.
Yes. So
to get a good view, right?
So there should have been ancient maps for these ancient travelers, also precise maps. You understand?
Mhm.
So the existence of previous maps, before the discovery of America, were around. You understand? So this
Mhm.
is this, when we deduct things, it makes sense that this map could have, be an ancient map, you know, referring to the shape of the land before any changes, any catastrophe, any whatever flood, whatever could have happened that could have
Exactly,
modified.
because that is the reason there are different creatures that were at that timeline, right? Or maybe
Also,
beyond these known lands,
Mhm.
or that is the reason they are shown in the south a lot, right?
Yes. They
Antarctica
also
doesn't have any
mention,
ice.
yeah,
Yeah.
he also mentions in the map that he says that the southern parts, if you look, it doesn't have as many of those little red cities all over the place. They said these lands, something along the lines, I'm just paraphrasing, but he says, I forgot where in my translation that I wrote it out, but he says these lands are not as well discovered as other lands. And so other lands, I would attribute that to the lands where you have those cities, those little red pucks. You know what I'm saying? Every time you see a red puck somewhere, that's some place that they've put their feet on, and they're pretty familiar with that area to where they can basically sketch out a city. You understand?
Oh yeah, or a headquarter or a control center,
Right,
right?
right, right. Because the rest of the South, if you look at the South, you don't have any of that. And when I mean the South, I'm talking about those borderlands, those lands on the outside, those lands that basically make up a perforated ring around the map. You don't see any. Like I'm looking and I don't see none. And I have never seen any of those red cities anywhere on those on the map. Now, that's not to say that nothing has been erased. I'm not saying that, but as far as it stands right now, there are none.
Or maybe nothing has been erased. Maybe they just try to adapt that ancient map into
Mhm.
a modern one, just to hide the fact that this is an ancient map talking about ancient, geography.
Mhm.
That
Mhm.
is the
So then,
reason. Don't. That is the reason, Sam. It doesn't match up the sizes of all the continents.
exactly. So
Mm.
that's the thing. They try to make it look like a modern map. Made it 1587. 1587, my ass. That's not 1587.
Mhm.
That's
Mm.
not.
Oh
And you
yeah.
can just, if you zoom on the date 1587, you can see how it was like modified.
Enjoyed
It's
with
like
it, yeah.
obvious. It's fucking obvious. Like a Mongolian can tell you that it was modified. It's like you have to be stupid to see that it's clear. It's obvious. It's not the same ink. It's different. It's like.
Mhm.
So I believe it might make sense, but in that case, that's a treasure, because if it actually shows the land before the flood and before the thing, that means that with that map you can find things that you could have never found, with a modern map. Like, you
Mm.
can you can you can pinpoint where ancient cities actually were,
Right.
because today also, there are lots of cities that bear the names of ancient cities, but it's not exactly the place where they were standing before.
Right.
So it's like it's a very important map at that point, if that's true.
Yeah.
If that's true,
Yeah.
it's like
I'm looking at that placard that has the year. It looks like an IS-87.
yeah,
That
but I,
is the
I
only that eight
yeah,
is the only number out of
yeah,
all of
that's
those numbers
exactly.
that looks just
Jin-
twisted. It looks
exactly,
weird.
exactly.
I'm gonna look at my pictures and see if there's any difference between the digitized version, this thing, and my pictures. But
But if you look in South America, there's also a text there written with the I, and you can see the I is actually one. Like, we believe that maybe it was like before Christ or something,
right,
or referring to the era of Christ. But actually, you can see that I is like used many times in different places to refer to the number one. Like
right.
when they talk
Mhm.
about Magellan, they say in 1522, and it's a I-522.
Yep.
So but it's true. Only the 8 is genuine.
Yeah.
The three other letters don't have nothing to do with it.
Yeah. Man.
That's 100%. You can see it's clear. It's
Okay,
fucking
check
obvious.
the magnitude of the map, guys, and see those blank squares.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, one person cannot make this.
No,
Oh, that's interesting. They're all on at the same level almost, huh?
almost.
Oh yeah, such character and the precision is very difficult, taking into account in those days there were no planes or GPS, neither telecommunication nor technology we have today. Nothing with this, which of this map that is magnitude could be created according what we have been officially told. So how did an ancient cartographer manage to create a map so detailed and still you can superimpose it on a wall and get a surprising match of the same data? How many million surveyors were required to create this? What complicated surveying equipment they use? They have advanced tools than you think. But technological capability at that time would be able to do a great job since we're talking about a complete map of the world. So this map could cast out official version of the story. But yeah, more or less, guys. So we'll do one
This
thing.
one, this map we all
Alrighty. I'm gonna take this out. You wanna
Vikka.
screen share, Vlad?
Yeah,
About that? Go ahead. You can screen share.
you got it. Coming right up. Coming right up. Oh boy, of course. Of course. Of course. Where's this thing at? There it is. Okay. Let me share that with y'all. Take that. Here we go.
Why? I feel
There we go.
famous.
There we go.
Oh
So
boy.
Alrighty. So let's try to zoom in on those borders, right?
Sure.
And try to check out the country's name if we can.
Okay. We have this to generalize everything, but I think I have that as well.
So yeah, we can go it so piece by piece, but it's to check out all the different names mentioned of the countries.
This is the city, the
Terra del
island,
Fuego.
Spanish island.
Yeah, and then that big one before we look
Terra
at
del
those
Fuego.
triangles. You see Terra del
You
Fuego.
can you zoom in?
You see?
Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry.
You see, that's also like a fault. Fuoco is not in Italian.
Fuoco.
It's
Like fire, right?
fuoco
Yeah.
in Italian with a C.
Fuoco. Mhm.
In those triangles, what is that? Yeah, these
Right.
ones. Yeah.
The island.
Can you read anything?
The Trisola Spagnola.
The Trisola, it's like like 3 islands or something, like
Mm-hmm.
like an archipel of like 3 islands, Spanish islands.
So
no, Isola, the Isola
islands. So
islands.
Yeah,
so
Isla de España.
Yeah, so if this is going above South America, and you have those 3 islands, it could be that they could be talking about the ABC archipelago, Aruba, Curacao, and Bonaire, maybe. And then they'll tell you in greater detail what they'll be talking about in that triangle with the bigger map, maybe.
I think we should draw lines between this
Which is the next one right next to the Spain? So we will go one by one. What is it?
Lucai.
I don't know.
Lucai.
Yeah. Of Lucai. Dele Lucai.
Okay, I don't know what the fuck it is.
Le Lucai.
Alrighty. The next
one is Plata e Maragnon.
Yeah, Plata de Maragnon. Plata is more like plata means silver.
A plateau, maybe a plateau, like like a.
Okay. Okay. What's the next?
The Strait
The
of
Strait of
Magellan.
Magellan. This is the Strait of Magellan.
Strait of Magellan.
Magellan. All right.
Del Stretto Magellanes.
The Magellan Straits.
Yep.
Yeah.
No.
Right here. I know it's a little bit fuzzy, so
Yeah. But we
figured.
can see it. Yeah.
Let's see.
We have the next slide then. Alrighty. What have we got here?
Okay. I've got of Germany, della Germania.
Yeah.
And then let's see.
Della Italia.
Of Italy, della
Yeah,
Italia.
that one. This one. Della Italia.
You see the two T's?
Two T's, yeah. Yep.
T for two and two for T.
Yep.
Then the next is
De
Paesi
settetrio
Lia.
The
Oh,
countries,
shit.
the septentrional countries.
Yeah.
Septentrional.
So the northern, is that more like the northern countries?
Septentrional. I don't know.
I think that that means northern. Yes, no.
No, it says de país, no? País.
Paesi to the land, the
país
countries.
is country. The countries of Settetrio. You know, I gotta
Septentrial. I don't know. It's a French term, but I forgot what it means. Well,
All right, so país is saying, yeah, it's país. Even in Spanish, it's northern. País. It's northern. Country.
Septentrional.
Settentrionale is northern. That's northern. So,
northern could be Norway, Sweden, from Norway, Sweden, or something.
Greenland, yeah. Yep.
The northern country. But does that match? Where is it north? Where it is? Or
no, because it's all south. These are all south. This is like what I mean is like if they are how do you say, sharing the pie, right? The empire.
Okay.
So everyone has their empire.
Okay.
So which is the next?
The next is della Moscovia. Moscovia. It almost sounds like Moscow. But
it's Moscow. Moscovia is Moscow. It's Russian.
Moscow.
So that's Russian.
Yeah.
Of Moscovia.
Alrighty. What's next?
Oh man.
Okay, what have we got here?
All these, but okay.
From right to left or left to right, whatever.
Right. Of
Arabia.
Del Arabia, the Middle East.
Arabia.
Yeah. And what's next?
This one is Scythia of Scythia.
Maybe Sicily, maybe Chile, no?
Well, no, because Sicily is in Italy, right?
Yeah.
So it cannot be a city. Della Sicile. Saifi.
No, I think this is a T right here, kind of like with Italia.
Scythia.
So I think they're talking about Scythia or around Russia. No, so that's a T and that's a H right next to it. Scythia.
Or that's an H directly.
Yeah. It's hard to make it out, but yeah, you see that line bridging this thing and that.
So it's good. It could be Skiff High.
Maybe Sofia.
Skiff High.
No, that's Scythia. That's Scythia. Scythia or Scythia.
Well, but it's written Delle. Delle in Italian is like a plural. So it's like of the in plural. There are many Skiff here. That means it's not the name of a country. It's a name of things, people. I don't know.
Perhaps because I've seen like a whole region and different regions on that map that show like Scythia, or it's like a people, like the Scythians, because they talk about them people in the Bible as well, the Scythians.
Kind of a race that the country maybe doesn't exist for us here. What have you got next then?
Give me a second. Scythians, a group of ancient nomadic people, Black Sea to Central Asia. So yeah, that's where you'd find them, around them Russian and Eastern European things. They'll Scythia.
All right.
Let me get back
So
to that.
it's a Western European.
Eastern Europe. Black
Eastern
Sea.
European.
Yeah, Black Sea, Asia area.
Cool.
De Calicut.
They Calicut.
Calcutta, maybe?
Yeah.
Or Cali
Calicut. No, Calicut is
Calicut.
because it could be because right next to is Della India. If you see, go on the right.
Okay, okay. Della
You see
India. Yep,
Della
yep.
India.
Yep. Okay, so these are those Asian countries because you've got
So it's like the
India,
countries just
China.
south to them. Every country south to them is their pie. Because if you see, you have the
Mhm,
East European, you have the India, you have the Calicut,
mhm.
right? And right next to is the De La China.
China. Della China. Yeah.
You see, De La India, De La China. So this have to be the Indian Ocean.
Yeah, possibly, yeah. Yep. Yep. And I could go back to the big map or the small map.
No, let's
Oh.
finish. Let's finish this circle, and then we can go to the next map.
Sure.
Let's Let's go
Go to
to
the
the
next
next slide. Let's see any country left. There's Spain still left.
Yeah. Oh man, I didn't get this one. Well, yeah.
This one is from Japan. The one
Yeah,
in the
it's
middle is
Japan, but
Japan.
I didn't get this one right here to the left of
What is that?
Okay.
What is that on this?
I don't know, but if we went to the big map, I could tell you.
All right, we'll see
Okay.
later.
I found the city, man.
Mm-hmm.
It's in Greece. Scythia. It's an area in Greece.
It says right here. It says the people of Scythia.
Yeah, so the Scythians
Were inhabited the Eurasian steppes or
Yes,
steppes. I don't know if I'm saying it right.
I put it in the private chat.
Okay. Horsemanship, archery, cultural, Black Sea, Central Asia. But it would make sense if it's in Greece because this is what they talk about in the Bible as well. So
Tommy Slav is saying in the chat that Cynthia is a modern day South Ukraine, or once known as Khazaria.
Khazar, right? Okay. So Scythian, okay. South Ukraine, Eastern European, okay, sure.
And can you zoom this up,
Totally.
Vlad? Because before Japan, can we see which is that?
You know what?
It's
Give me a
difficult.
second. Let me get it. I could get it on the on my thing that I went ahead and dang. Where is this stupid thing? Where is it?
Because we can see Japan right there in the front.
I'm gonna see if I can see get that map also. Wait a second.
And then right next to Japan,
Fiandria, Germania, Italia, the Paesi section of northern countries, Muscovia, Muscovy, Fania, Egypt, Armenia, Holy Land, Arabius, New, Calicut, Calcutta, India, China, Seguita, no. Oh,
yeah, right. It has to be right next to China somewhere.
Yeah.
Then because it's somewhere in Asia, right? Could be Malaysia, Indonesia.
Yeah. Let's see. Seguit. No, damn, I'm fucking this all up.
Anyway, we'll try to see it on the whole piece. When you see the whole circle, we'll try to zoom in that part. Let's go. Japan, right? What is next to Japan? Can we zoom in?
Japan, sure, is Quiwira de Quiwira.
Can you zoom in? Can you zoom in?
Yep.
De Quiwira.
Quirira. Yeah, de Quirira.
No, I don't sound something familiar.
Yeah.
Decoding. No idea. No idea. What's the next?
We'll
They
see.
Jalisco, Jalisco.
Yeah, Jalisco is more. I think it's in South America somewhere.
Jalisco.
Mayan. Sounds very Mayan.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Jalisco.
Jalisco.
Or Jalisco, Jalisco.
Jalisco. Jalisco. Jalisco. Hmm.
Or Chasisco. You know, sometimes the C also is like fucked up like this.
Yeah, it's very clear. It's Jalisco, or Jalisco.
Yeah.
I'll check it out.
Alrighty, what's next?
Let's see. Oh wow.
Okay, found it.
What's it say?
Jalisco. It's in Mexico.
Okay, Jalisco in
But the
Mexico.
thing
As
is,
I
like,
said, Mayan. Yeah, it sounds very Mayan.
but it's a city. It's like a small shit city, but it's maybe also an area.
No, it was there. It was one of the main cities of the Mayan culture.
Oh, Jalisco also is a big area. Okay, so just done.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So that thing we were looking at is Zabut, of the island Zabut. That one.
This
that
one
was
right
cut
now,
off?
what we are seeing?
No, the one that was cut off. Let me go back to it.
No,
real
this one is Yucatan. Okay, this one is Yucatan. Is also
Yeah.
from Mexico.
That's Mexico. But I'm saying the other one, the one that was cut off.
Which was cut. Yeah, which one was
that's
that?
Zabut. I could go back to it real quick.
But I got the problem here. What did they you know, like, did they how do you call it? They oh shit, I forgot my English. Did they share the Antarctica with the cities from, you know, Mexico, area from Mexico? Like there was like, was that like were there like a kingdom? Was there like a kingdom, a big king to share Antarctica with those people? Like it's like,
It sounds more like it's more like these main countries owning these parts. I think that's what it looks like.
So that's what I mean. You know, we never heard about like you know, an empire of like, you know, Jalisco. What I don't know. It seems weird that, you know, Germany has to share something with you know, like Guadalajara. You understand? That's what I don't know.
Yeah, but the same thing goes for India. The same thing goes for China, Japan, right?
Yeah,
Armenia. How many countries were there?
Those are big countries, but those look like counties or something. I don't know. Maybe they
split them.
They made deals. I don't know. Maybe there are reasons why they are mentioned. That's for sure.
Oh yeah, Arabia. So it's many places. The Mayan part, the Mexican part, right? Is there anyone left? I think we didn't found Spain and all this stuff.
Yes, we were. Yeah, we were in Florida. It's Florida.
This is Florida.
Yeah, of Florida.
Yeah, right. Was Yucatan was on the left?
Yucatan. Yeah.
This is Yucatan.
Yep.
And then we have De La Florida, right?
Florida. Mm-hmm.
Florida, exactly.
And then, okay. So this right here could be talking about those. It says Frisola or Tisola, Hispaniola. I know Haiti is considered Hispaniola during that time.
No, Del Isola.
Cuba.
It's one island.
Isola,
of the island of Spain. It's
L
is apostrophe.
Hispaniola. Yeah. So Hispaniola is like right here. You see it? That's Haiti.
Oh
it
yeah.
says Spagnola.
So go back. Maybe there is a line between this and that
yeah
thing there.
Yep. Shares it right here.
Okay, so go now to the Luque and see what goes up. The next one. De Le Luque, and see if you find the Luque there up there.
Yeah. I can't get all the way up in there.
Yeah, you can see Peru. Yeah.
Yeah. Little perv right here.
Yeah, that's for Peru.
Mm-hmm.
So I think we've done the whole circle then.
Marañón. Yep.
Alrighty.
Magellanes. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Almost, right? So how many countries did we count, more or less, right? There are quite a few, right?
Yes,
Why are
quite a
those
few.
countries, why are those countries being mentioned at the border, especially beyond that unknown land, right? Because it's if you see, it's all a longitude. Every point is covering a longitude or
Yes,
latitude. You
right.
see that?
Mm-hmm.
What it means
It's in the
that when
middle.
you expand to the south, that
Right.
longitude is going to open up,
Yes, right,
right?
right. Yes.
And that's how they have divided the empire,
So
because
it's
they are
just,
sharing that pie.
yeah, they just
Oh,
name those areas. That's all. It's the names of the area. I don't think they share it with those countries. It's just like the name of the area of that
I
that
think
those
I see
lines.
what
As
you're
far
saying. I think
Sam,
I see what
Sam,
you're saying.
Sam, as far as I understand, that is the reason. Because why do you have to name
Yes,
countries and places which
Yes.
are in the inner continents outside on a particular longitude? And if you see, it all correlates to each country, because if you see the part of India or China, it's right south of India or China.
but maybe that those countries like Spaniola and everything, maybe they took over this entire area, that entire line there, all the way up, and not just the area on Antarctica. Maybe it goes up to the to the north,
Or could be because it's
or
more
that
nearer
hallway.
physically. Maybe it's because it's nearly physically. That's why they, how do you say, give them that part, because it's physically near to control.
I don't know. Yeah, maybe I don't know, but it's yeah. It's like they're dividing it. They're dividing it between them, between names. It doesn't matter, but it's like it's just a reference of an area. That hallway there that goes all the way up, I think is that's for the Isola Española
Mm-hmm.
to have to dominate or to be named after that. I don't know, but it talks about this the entire like I don't know. You call it meridian. I don't know.
Right. It covers that meridian.
Yeah, this is because it's exactly in the middle, so that's what it is.
Wow. Wow. Yeah.
So how many meridians there are? Like 36?
There are 36 in this one. Yeah.
36 meridians.
Yeah.
36 meridians. 3, 4, and there's like 12 kings.
12 kings. Yeah.
12 by 3,
You figure
36.
three. three
I don't know.
three per king. Oh, that doesn't
Wow,
sound
it's
too
one of my
crazy. That doesn't
favorite
sound
maps.
like.
Kevin also knows.
Yeah.
Is that Gene?
No, it's me. I'm playing a clip from before.
Oh,
So let's play this. This is from, I had
yeah.
done this a few years ago, but I'm gonna play this clip.
Where's everybody
We all
today? Where's
know
Gene?
it's Monte Urbano map, and this is the map which
Yeah.
is the whole topic all about. Is Antarctica Treaty 500 years old? Why could it be possible? Okay, the next image is, as I said, sometimes the information could be right in front of our face, but we won't see it. Sometimes it's there, but only when the time comes for it to know, you really see it. All this information here where the arrows are pointing to the extra lands, there are some letters written here. It's written, I think it is in Italian.
No,
Okay,
thank
so
you.
we continue. Okay, what do we see here? We see de la España. This means from Spain. This is de la Francia, from France. De la Germania, the Germany claiming like that. So this all goes around, and is claimed by different countries.
But you see, it goes around
and
according to
divided in
the.
How many
different
are there?
parts.
Right.
You see,
What's Sam?
It goes according to the the right order, geographic order in Europe, because you have Germany next to Italy, you have Germany next to France, France next to Spain.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying. The same thing goes all around, because if you see, the Japan part is right there in the southern of Japan. If you see, the Indian part is just southern of India. The Chinese part is southern of China, right?
So it's like actually like a new world that just like to try to project their empire into like a new, like extend their empire, like according to their their actual position. I don't know. It's like trying to think, but I don't know.
Their own sector. In other words.
They're all, yeah.
The
They're all
Masonic
around.
division. The Masonic division, in other words, of Antarctica. There you go.
There's probably 33 of them there.
So
There you go.
So if this map is more than
Guess.
500 years old, if this map is more than 500 years old, and this is already divided 500 years before, so how can be the Antarctica Treaty from past 60 or 80 years, 60 years ago? How is it possible?
Yeah, this is in water.
There you go. This is a valid
That's
question.
interesting.
If this map goes back that far, what's this Antarctica treaty all about? Looks like it's already there anyway.
Exactly. This is what I'm trying to get. That this is just a mock-up. This treaty is just a mock-up to show maybe they had some internal, like maybe they just got hot and they started fighting again, so they may have to make a new one. You know what I
A new
think?
revised version.
During the Cold War, during the First World War, so maybe that was the whole fuss about.
Yep, re-solidify it to the public, in other words.
Exactly. So here it's...
By the way, guys, they did those operations down there. If you look up the word Dominic in the anywhere, it refers to the Lord. So Dominic and Fishbowl were in Antarctica, and it sounds like Fishbowl of the Lord. Kind of interesting.
Of course, yep. By the name itself, yes.
And those are the little things all over the place. Those little Easter eggs, whatever.
Easter eggs.
Those are things we have to all overlook constantly. Constantly overlook these things to write it off and not say, "Hey, what is really going on?" So,
right. The little Easter eggs hidden in plain sight. That's what Vikka was talking about earlier.
Right.
There it is in front of everybody, and nobody recognizes it because we're not taught to recognize it, but we don't recognize it for ourselves.
Right.
But then again, somebody has the epiphany and shares it with everybody. That's why we're all here doing this talking, because we're seeking more. Finally.
And here, Rob, it says, maybe you can read it already in Spanish, but here is for the people who don't understand. There are some information also in some parts. No, here is written in Italian.
Los habitantes de este país no, okay.
No quiere comercio
it got
con
small.
forasteros.
Here we go. No quiere.
Okay. Comercio con forasteros.
They don't.
Quiere su amistad.
It looks like forasteros. Does that mean foreigners? That's what it looks like. They don't want commercial. They don't want commerce from foreigners, and they don't want friendship. And it's prohibited by law, by their kings. By big penalty, and they are idolatrous, meaning they're pagans.
They're pagan. Wow.
Anyway, but that's information about that part of people of that particular region. Okay, so there are different information is given about.
But there is something also that's funny.
So there it is.
Go ahead, Sam.
Something that's funny is that we know through history that all these nations were always at war. They were like wars all over the place all the time. And it seems that map, shows some kind of a harmony between the countries, like deals, it seems like there's no war between these kings, and that everybody's agreeing somehow on something.
Yeah. I can see that.
You understand? That's just, I don't feel I don't see no war being reflected into this map. There's no signs of wars or destruction. So I don't know. Seems like everything is united, and everybody lives in harmony. All the kings, 12 kings, they have nothing to do together. King of Ethiopia, thinking of fucking Mexico.
Divide and conquer, right? Divide
Yeah,
and rule,
yeah.
right?
So those are not actually maybe countries being represented like the way we know. It's maybe like brotherhoods of people that control these countries that are like being represented. It's like an underground underworlds of people of like of agreements. You understand? I don't know.
Oh
That's what
yeah, let's hear this.
That it says bajo grandísima pena, means there's huge penalty for going there. There you go. That's the
But
treaty, Antarctica
even-
Treaty, right
and
there.
Even
here
back
it said-
then.
Yep, and here he's saying, en este país no está permitido que los extranjeros viven ahí y todos son muy blancos y están desnudos. There is saying that in this country it's not permitted the foreigners living there, and everyone here is very white and are naked. And that part
Really?
Means it's warm.
That's not
has
cold.
to be.
Yeah.
It's not cold.
Right.
Exactly.
Right. Uh-huh. Yeah. If they're running around without coats on, then it's warm. Warmer than Utah.
So,
It's a good point.
Okay, we're gonna
Unless you're the
con-
Iceman Wim Hof.
we're gonna be continuing this.
Yeah, what were you saying, Sam?
No. Just I was saying good point, Harmon. It's a good fucking point. It's hard. This was we can
Oh yeah,
deduct
they're
that
saying they're
at
white
least,
and they're without clothes, so it
at
has
least
to
we
be.
know
It
that.
cannot be ice.
We know that for sure. That's one thing that we know for sure. Oh shit.
One
Yeah,
moment. I'm gonna mention something here. Let me know.
All right, guys, this is also very important, right? This is the last part, but yeah, it's really important. So listen carefully. There's some disturbance in the first minute because somebody was hot micing, but the information is really important.
Disturbance in the force.
What you guys think. Okay, because this part of some part of the investigations is also that those are really closer to that part of the extra land. So there are legends and there are people trying to decode, and so I'm gonna add some points here. So let's see. So maybe some of the people in the chat or even in the panel maybe would not agree with this, but it's just to put it out there. It's not about who's right, wrong, or what. So let's continue with this. Someone says, I have solved the ball hoax and the 500 years of lies. I thought it was only NASA that lied to us, but all countries of the world are involved. It all started with the study of the map of Monte Urbano, 1544 to 1613, the map, more or less, So in it, it has been seen that the ring that surrounds the Virgin Earth, the Earth was already divided into 36 parts, each part with the name of country like Spain, France, Germany, Chile, etc. They have known about the existence of this gigantic ring for more than 500 years, and they had already distributed it between them. I explained the wars of the pirate ships for the possession of these lands. They decided to hide those lands by changing the shape of the land from flat to spherical for religious, economic, or power reasons. Can you mute your mic, Keith or Kevin, please? Okay, so they decided to hide those lands by changing the shape of the land from flat to spherical for religious, economic, or power reasons. They had to adapt all the maps to the globe. the calendars, to invent gravity and the heliocentric system, all to hide those lands in a false continent called Antarctica. Okay, so apart from the hiding the creator, this is supposed to be one of the biggest reason for the globe to come in the existence, is to hide those extra lands. Is one of the best ways, so okay. Step to Commander Admiral Byrd, adventurer in Antarctica, all misinformation. Neither Germans nor the UFOs. What happened was that the American army wanted to seize the land of the ring that belonged to Argentina and Chile. There was a battle. The Americans lost it. Now, if you read the Antarctica Treaty, everything makes perfectly sense. The prohibition to pass the 60th parallel is so that no one can see those lands. The means of transport have improved a lot. Anyone with a boat, a plane, a balloon could have discovered the deception. That is why anonymity between countries. They all have land to hide, thousands of millions of square kilometers. After World War II, the Cold War began, named after the Antarctic ring. All countries wanted the land. Two camps were formed, Americans and the Russians. With the signing of the Antarctica Treaty, there was peace. The Masons, the Jesuits, the deception is over.
That's it. I know everybody don't have to believe, but there's some things about those extra lands, about countries being involved from a very long time, and the whole First World War and the Cold War for the space race. Maybe we can know which space they're speaking about. Right?
Mm-hmm.
The extra space, the extra terra, the ETs, the extraterrestrial, right? They want to get there. That is the reason, as I was saying, in 1948, this treaty is supposed to end. So we see what comes out of it, because they are going to try to step up on each other for the control, right? Why is the reason in the beginning we were saying why they are so all collaborative on Antarctica and in the so-called fake space and the NASA and the everything happening in the same time region. Why? Right?
Strange.
So yeah, there's a lot of people who are digging in the Monte Urbano map, right? And yeah, it's to ponder, right? Why we think that this can be only a 60 years treaty and they're not allowing any of us to go, right? Because the reason they don't want they invented this whole globe shit and NASA and everything just so that we are in a controlled prison, right? If we are thinking that this map is old, even if it's 300, 400, 500, 600, whatever. So this treaty has been, how old is this map? Now it's up to us to decide how old is this map. Once we have an idea how old this map could be, so that the treaty is that old too.
Makes sense. That makes sense.
We don't have enough information to know when that map was made, because if it was made like 1,000 years ago, 1,500 years ago, or we have to have like something that tells us that there were maps at that time, and that they knew America at that time, and so that's not easy. In the Torah, I can prove part of it, but it's not enough to to be sure 100%. So it's like it's tough. We need more. But it's for me, it's an ancient map. It's a very old map. It's not like a 500 years old map. It's a very old map. And then things have been added up, like much more recently. And maybe through the years, maybe in 500 years, ago, like 400 years, and 300 years ago, 100 years ago, I don't know. But things have been like added up, not in one day, like it occurs. So, but it's I think we should check that idea of the ancient map before catastrophes or whatever.
Right. So you mean like maps ages ago, especially the ones that we know are significantly older. Even the ones that appear to be a little bit they appear to be I don't know if indecipherable is the word, but the older ones, the ones that look like they're out of like Saudi Arabia or something.
Yes.
Those ones definitely.
And you also have to know who used that technique of,
creating
printing
those maps.
or drawing on vellum.
Right.
It's something they used to do in the Middle Age. I know the Catholic Church had to, like, those illuminators, work on vellum. But I know that vellum has been around a long time. In Judaism, it's like, thousands of years, like maybe like 4,000 years. We have laws in Judaism that refer to that, all the work that has to be done in order to make a book. To make a book, it was something like holy. I don't know if you understand.
Right. Oh, yeah. Bibles especially, right. Yeah.
Oh, it was something like, you had a book, you were a rich man. Those were, that was knowledge that wasn't given to people.
Right.
You imagine, because you have a book, you can carry secrets through time. It's like, it was very important. It was like a TV today, like it was like there was no TV, there's nothing, if you had a book. So that's the thing, to write on vellum, and if those colors there are ancient, if we can test, because I don't know if it has ever been done, like tests of, the ink and the paper and everything. To date, I don't think they ever done that. And if nobody did that, that's already suspicious.
Yeah, and I don't know how much credibility you would want to give to carbon dating. You know what I'm saying?
You don't need carbon dating. It's not like, it's not like archaeology. Something that can give you like about like 1,000 years or something. It don't need like, I think there are other techniques than carbon dating to know, how old is a parchment. You can compare it to ancient parchments that already were like, identified.
Right. Okay.
But just like the Dead Sea Scrolls, you see, you can identify. You can say that it was like 3,000 years ago, whatever. Like, So because of there's all kinds of ways to check the ink, to check the paper. But I believe that one of the first things we should do is to check if those books, those maps were even ever tested, like to know how old they are exactly, because they probably say, okay, it's written 1587. We don't need to like to know more than that. And then there's also the thing that those are maybe copies and not the original. I don't know, because I heard that there is two copies. At least there is one in that Ramsey museum and another one. Last time I checked, it was like there were two true non-copies, but I never found the other copy.
I think it's in somewhere in Italy.
Yeah, because the original map is the one that I think Monty said that he purchased. The one it's in Milan, right, or something like that.
Yeah. Florence or Milan or some shit. Yeah.
Right.
Oh yeah. For example, here in these corners, you see there's so much of information there. Every corner, you see, it's in fine letters, but there's a whole history written there.
Oh yeah.
All around the map, you see how much text is there. Imagine what all information is stored right there.
Yeah. And they don't when I did the breakdown of each one of those meridians, those little triangles in the meridians, they speak about a lot of times, believe it or not, they don't speak about what's inside of the meridian a lot of times. Not all the times, but a lot of the time. And they speak a lot of what they know. And what I mean by that is they won't speak too much about what's going on the in those southern regions that we're looking at that look a little bit sparse, you know, as far as the cities are concerned. So like you'll see Monty talk about like Germany, and he'll say they're really nice people or something. I think something of Germania. He'll be like, yeah, nice people, something like that. And you know, but they're not. It's not. In other places, he'll compare everything almost to like Italy.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? He's like, oh, these people are nice, but they're not as nice as the Italians. Oh man, their tomatoes are good, but it ain't as good as Milan's. Oh man, their women are fine, but they're not as fine as our women. You know, stuff like that. I mean, you'll see it all over the map, like different ways in which he compares what they know to what Italy has. I'm kind of exaggerating, but as
yeah,
you
their
read it,
pasta and pizza is good, but not as good as the
yeah,
Italian.
exactly. Yeah. Brooklyn's pizza is good, but not as good as Sicily's pizza. You know what I'm saying? He does stuff like that throughout the map.
But was he Italian? Was he have to be,
Monty?
right? Because
Yeah. Yeah, Monty was an Italian. And he came from a pretty wealthy family. And
Of course.
what they mention is that a lot of his items and a lot of his cartography stuff, it basically went like up for it almost went up for auction, because he passed all that stuff down to his kids apparently, and then his kids, some of his kids were fighting over his estate and stuff like that after he had passed, and it was just a big mess. But apparently that's how the story goes, the story that we're given. Whether that's true or not, I don't even know.
Brad, tell me something. When you read those you know, scriptures there in those corners there,
yeah,
it talks about people. You say not just about country. It does talk about history or just
it talks. Yes, yeah. It speaks. In some places, it talks about the history. Some places it talks about people. Some places it talks about people's attitudes towards life in general.
Do they talk about people's nature?
Yes, yes, it does. Yes, they do.
Okay.
Yes, they do.
I ask you another question. Bringing back that theory of that mud flood there, wasn't that mud flood, you know, that theory of like that Tartarian thing, also associated to the displacement of huge populations? Like populations were like displaced, like, you know, they were put from one place to another. Sometimes you have pictures of like totally empty, you know, places, and that there were like populations that were moved at one point from one point to another, orphans and everything. I've seen that somewhere. Do you know about this? Because I'm not familiar with that area. I made a video on it.
You know, I have to go back and look at my translations. I think he does. I think there's one where he speaks. You know, I'm going to look. Matter of fact, I got it right here. I'm sitting there talking all this mess. I got it right in front of my face.
What is it?
Let me see. Control F. Okay. Tartaruge. Let's see. Let's see. No, let's see. Tartary. Okay, like for example, it says of Muscovy. It is okay. So for example, right? So you see where it says of Muscovy, right? Where we said it's probably Moscow or something.
Yeah,
says,
Moscovia.
Okay, so in that little triangle, it says it is a very large country, so called from the river Moseo, governed by its most powerful and Christian particular lord, who observes in religion the ways of the Greek church, and has under him many great princes and a good part of Tartars, and it is a flat country with many forests, marshes, and rivers, and extreme cold. So far, everything sounds like it describes. Yeah, it sounds like Russia, or like totally Russia. The way the people live, the Greek Orthodox, or the orthodoxy. the church, the Orthodoxy church. So you have the Greek
Yeah.
Orthodox, and then you have the Russian version, which is obviously the Russian or the Eastern Orthodox, right? The Russian Orthodox. And then it continues with extreme cold, so that there is no very kind of tree, that's exactly what they say, no very kind of tree except the oak tree, as many affirm the great beasts of similar shape to the one, of which they say that by making rings of its nail and carrying it on the finger, it is valid for the crab that, oh my God, you guys have to bear with me because this is what I translated. I'm going to have to retranslate some of these things because when I translated it, I was like, is this, because you heard me say potente instead of ponente. So I fucked that all up. I fucked that way down. So I'm going to have to go ahead and some of these things I'm going to have to retranslate because I sound total dumb. But let me finish. It is valid for the crab that becomes in the hands or feet, and also the perishable disease. And many are seen in princes and other details. But the experts say for certain that such weed has no virtue if it is not cut or removed before the beast so removes it from, it says die. Oh Lord. It says removes it from die. Yeah, I'm gonna have to go over that again, but I just read for you where it says tartar, tartary, hold on, of Scythia, and it also says of Scythia, and it speaks of the Tartars as well, right? Go ahead.
The thing is that, all that information, that is being put there, is supposed to be important information, to be, written in such a map. Now I'm asking myself, who gives a shit about that type of information? Who gives a shit about the fact that over there is cold, that the women are beautiful? Right. Who gives a shit? Who does that? What is the interest? Because there is an interest. It's not like I'm not saying there's no interest. It's like
right.
I'm saying there is an interest, and we have to understand that. What the hell is it for? Like, why do they write this? For what? What kind of a report is that? What kind of a mission did that guy have, to report all these things?
Yeah, so on the surface, it would appear as if, like I said, on the surface, right? On the surface, I'm just looking at it at a glance, right? And they would talk about what they know, or they're claiming they're talking about what they know. But again, if we wanted to read into it, is that all they truly know? Are they trying to convey a message over to someone or people that could see a particular message pointing them in a particular direction? I don't know. Right? I'm barely getting these translations off, and I'm gonna have to go over them again because I sound mad upside down. I ain't even gonna lie to you, bro. I ain't even gonna lie.
That was just one part, right? You just read that one translation you did, but how many triangles are there? So imagine how much more.
They're 36. They're 36.
Oh, yeah.
And I translated all of them. So, not saying and now looking at that and sounding stupid as hell, it's like I'm gonna have to retranslate them motherfuckers too.
No, but you're still doing a great job, bro. So yeah, it's in the end, it's more questions than answers, right? That's always.
The thing, why does an empire or somebody is so interested into populations? These people, that empire, the Catholic Empire, that just killed millions of people, massacred countries, that just destroyed kingdoms, totally, many kingdoms disappeared from the face of the earth through wars and conquests. So I'm saying, suddenly they're very interested into knowing what kind of people these people are, for what, or either is it for war, or to trade with them, or to mix with them, or to, I don't know, what's the interest? Or they care so much about populations and places. So what's the interest? It's like an intelligence report before an invasion. What is it?
I would say that's a good point. Like, it's like an intel report. But to who?
That's it.
Yeah. So this is a very detailed intel report too. It's
Well,
not,
the only thing you can, value this information is if you want to manipulate populations, if you want to know how to manipulate them or dominate them, or to conquer them
yeah,
religiously, and to impose your religion onto them, to see how they're going to react. How can we just, like, take them? How can we sell them our beliefs,
right.
or
And
impose it to them?
I see that's a good point, because even today, you can go to other countries, right? That may not be too familiar with Americans. And I could tell you, with my travels, my little travels that I did while I was enlisted and stuff like that, going to Turkey, and then they're like, "Hey, soul brother number one," and I'm like, "Soul brother number one, motherfucker, this ain't 1971. You think this is like an episode of damn Starsky and Hutch or Shaft or something like that? Soul brother, blood brother, come. You work with me. You talk with me. You buy from me, right?" And so they go by what they see on TV or what they're told a certain people, a certain way of people live. Maybe the map does the same. Maybe the
Yes.
map was trying to produce the same effect, where they would say, "Hey, these people are like this,
um,
so this is how you
Maybe
would approach these
I
kinds of
tell you,
people." You know what I'm saying?
I'm just throwing this like this again because I'm thinking like roughly with you. I'm not, didn't think about it before, but actually, when you talk about women, women is one of the way to control men. If you understand women,
Mm,
if you can control
mhm,
women, you control the man.
mhm,
So I believe that that map might have been also a blueprint for a new world order,
mm,
like to impose to the entire different population one ideal, one idea. Is a very very advanced idea, but in order to make it one, like to make like one world unites around an ideal, or around the Catholic Church or the Catholic beliefs, whatever the Christian beliefs, to
mhm,
Christianize the entire world, I don't know, or to do something like this. And for that, of course, you need to know everything about everybody, and need to know details of all the countries and all the people living there, what kind
mm.
of people, how they live, what do they eat,
Right.
because this is, you have to know how to approach them, how to conquer them.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah, so that's maybe like just a report for that, to say, okay, this is the world, this is how it's made,
Yeah.
those are the populations living there, this is how they are, this
Yeah.
is what their, this is their nature.
You know,
And
we, there's a there's a series of books that were written by one of our agencies. I'm sure you can imagine which, but it's a whole encyclopedic volume, right? Of books of different regions. And it is the blank, blank, blank knowledge book. And each one of these books is like a 300-page small, like 5 by 5 inch book. If you guys have ever been in the Intel community, or you've served in one of those fields, you probably know what it is I'm talking about. And in each one of these books basically serves kind of like each triangle, or each meridian, bottom meridian of Urbano Monte's map. So this is exactly like an intel report. This is
yes,
exactly that.
that's what I believe. And this now, because of this, if it's true, that might justify also the meaning of the word, of the name Urbano Monte, like we talked last time,
Mhm.
because Urbano comes from urban, which is
Urban.
a city, and
Mhm.
Monte is a mount, is a mountain. And this reflects somehow the faraway picture of the town of Babel or Babylon,
Babel. Mm.
because when they built the city again, the city itself was a tower. The city was
Mm.
like going up, up, up in the form of a tower. That means it's like a huge building going around, and you can see now today the European Parliament that is built that way.
Mhm.
It's like a big, huge building, round building, unfinished, but with a lot of floors,
Mhm.
and that was what it is. So Urbano Monte somehow can refer to a big city of Babylon or Babel, and that spirit that they had at the time to unite the entire world, into a city, into a civilization of people all united, around around the idea of being against God and to create a godless society and a soulless society. But with technology and modernism and so I don't know. It's like just smells like it's just like a smell like in the air. It's nothing that I can prove, but I feel like it might go in towards that direction. So far, it might hold, but we need more, of course. We need more.
Yeah, this map needs much more studying, right? As I said, even the eclipses, it really revealed a lot about eclipses, right? If you really see those drawings. So yeah, this map is amazing. This map is never ending in a way. Every time you wanna go in details and you have time, you look into it, you're gonna find amazing stuff, right? It's always, as I said, it's more questions about this than answers, right?
Here again on the picture, you see people. They're like very white. They're talking about a lot of things about people and their nature, their form, their races, what they do, how they live. That's an intelligence report. It is not to. It's not about universities or to teach this to people. I don't think it's for schools. It's for a private. It's a private report. It's not for. It's not public. It's not for the public to know. That's why it was hidden.
No,
Maybe so many years.
absolutely, it could be, right? Like
Well,
just today,
what
as you guys are saying, a compact information of the whole known world in a way, because they are literally dividing the world, the known world and the unknown world, right? And they're trying to explain about those extra people and land and civilizations too, because they're not only speaking about the countries what are known, they're speaking about other races, right? So that's the interesting part.
So what do we know for sure? What do we know for sure today about that map? I can say a few points. First of all, that it's full of codes. It's not something simple. That's one. It's a coded map.
Yep.
100%. What code for what I don't know, but it's coded. There's so many, and then I can also. I started, working with Vlad on animals that are being like copied twice. There's a few, like maybe like something like 10, 15, animals that are like being reproduced twice at two different places. Those are, for me, those are codes. Those are not just to show you that there were like rabbits over there. We don't give a shit about rabbits, being at one place or another place. It's code. Those are codes. It's not a National Geographic report, but we know that there are codes. We also know there are lots of mistakes. It's not Italian. A lot of mistakes in Italians. There are words that have been taken, from English, from French, from Spanish. So it denotes also like an international, consortium that many hands touch that book. That's the second thing we can say for sure. Well, this is what we have to do to know what's certain so far.
So did many X-Acto knives, because for the folks in the audience, if you don't know, those little blank windows, they're blank because they're actually removed. They're actually cut out.
Exactly.
So if, and I'm gonna land my plane right here. I'm gonna really land. What you see as white blank spots, they actually took the time to go ahead and apply incisions in the paper so they can remove whatever was in there. So whatever was in there was so important that they had to remove 4 of them and then just put white backgrounds or no background.
Yeah, but there is something more, because how come they could not, like, modify what was written the way, they did modify many other places, many other texts, many other places, like the dates was modified. So how come they could not modify it? How come they made it so obvious that they just, like, remove something? That's also the question. What makes it to make it obvious when we see that there are other places where they remove things, modified things, and that's not so obvious, but they managed to like cover it up. But here they could not cover it up. They just like took it off. So there's something here that they could not cover up if they wanted to cover something. If there was something there, because we don't even know if there was something. Apparently, of course, it's supposed to hide something, but maybe not. Maybe it's just like a window to put something there. Like, for example, I give you like 4 stamps or something, and then when you put them in these squares, you can draw a line in between those squares or something and find a place.
It
Maybe
probably
just
makes the map complete, right? So the map probably could possibly serve as a tool, because what they're saying the map was used for was okay, that's not a bad idea, because check this out. They say the map was used to be placed as soon as you piece this gigantic map. So has anybody ever played seen Wheel of Fortune? You see that big ass wheel?
Yes.
That they spin in Wheel of Fortune? That map was supposed to go on this big giant wheel that stands upright. So as you put the map in that place, it's like got this background to hold it out and exposed, right? So you put this map up on that freaking turny thing. It's a big giant wheel. And then in order to get access to all those different places, you could spin it. So there's a possibility that each one of those little blank spots served as something, as like, I don't know what. I have no idea what.
Well,
but maybe as a key, as you spun this map, it would appear. You understand? Those something would appear in those 4 maps, in those 4 empty spots.
Or those are precise spots where you have to place something that's external to the map, something that does not belong to the map. You have to place into those squares something that will pinpoint, somehow places on that map. You remember that Indiana Jones movie there, when he get into Egypt there,
Raiders of the Lost Ark?
When he puts the staff there in the city map, in the underground, and then with whatever, with the rays of the sun, the lights, you can point. Okay, so those are like ancient things, I believe, and maybe this is why those squares are like, they're not in one place, they're like almost all around.
Right.
So I believe it's maybe something that you have to place into these maps, into these spots there, in order to pinpoint somehow areas on that map of precise locations.
Perhaps
it depends what you place. Maybe if you place something that's like an arrow that points to a certain direction, then you just draw a line between that and that. Like trigonometry. You have three points, 3 places, and then tack, and it forms like a. Well, I don't know, because it's not logical that they make it obvious that they removed it. That's the idea. They shouldn't make it obvious that they removed it.
But they also made it obvious that they placed something directly in the middle of they put a gold paint and silver paint star directly in the middle of the map. And they obviously like superimposed that stuff, that silver and gold star, on a bunch of other things that were originally in there. So I don't know, but I like that idea though. That's something I've never even considered. Yours?
So I don't know. We have to put all that in the foundry.
Yeah, definitely.
See what's going to come out of that.
Yeah, we have to for sure dig in more on Monte Urbano. You guys are doing a great job too. As I said, one of these clips are from a few years ago, right? These clips I played today all from a few years ago, and we went in more details with other maps with extra land. So yeah, as I said, it's for the people to ponder and make up your own mind what it could be. It's all just false information or things that are the timelines are not matching the things, the continents, the way they are, and how the geography was, or places and cities and animals and people and technology. Everything is right there if we want to look into it and find out. Because as I said, I always found amazing stuff which really opened new ways from this Monte Urbano map.
Yep.
So, guys, yeah, I think that's we have for today. And this is the thing: is Antarctica 3D more than 500 years old? Could be possible, right? The indoctrination and the control could be more older than just 60 or 80 years. All right. So yeah, guys. Anyway, last thoughts, and we are almost up for today.
Okay. All right. Yeah.
I'm okay. I'm all right. Well, I've enough to think about. Wow.
Yeah. Anytime we bring this map up, there's always something crazy that we miss. Like this map is so full of clues, and some of these things they're just so extraordinary that we look at it and we're like, oh, how did I miss that? How did I not see that? I think it's one of those things. It just has such good replay value. That this map, no matter how many times you think you've seen it, you just haven't seen it. You know what I'm saying? And I think another thing that's important with getting to know this map, or rather understanding it at a deeper level, is to look at other maps. You know what I'm saying? Is to look at other maps, older maps or maps in and around that time. One of the things that these guys introduced me to the other day, and I didn't even know about it, was Cassini's, which I have Cassini's map from 1696. I have that. But if you just type in Cassini's map 1696 on Google, but then they have Yandex and stuff like that. They have all these different space search engines. Like you could find a bunch of different maps that you've never seen before. So if you're interested in maps, if you're interested in getting to know these maps, but you want to see Urbano Monte on a deeper level, I would recommend looking at other maps.
Oh yeah, absolutely, bro. This is the thing. Even Pyre Rice is a very good map.
Yeah, yep.
And there are many other planisphere, yeah, and many that the names we don't have or know the names of each and every one. There's also one good friend of mine on TikTok, Rakia, Professor Rakia. He has also have a collection of a lot of amazing maps. Some of these maps cost a lot of money, right? Some of these maps are in hundreds of $1,000s with so much of details. With right, this is just one of those thousands of maps.
I don't think he paid that much for the map, to be honest with you. Like you would think he paid top dollar for this map, but Rumsey didn't really pay
could
much.
be, brother. If it's coming from Italy, maybe with the hands of Leonardo da Vinci or any similar people who are famous people, right? These things can be sold for thousands. Even a painting of these people are sold in millions. So these, the worth of really of this map, we won't have idea. I tell you, look for maps, old maps, and check the prices of some of these maps where it shows Dutch colonies and many other things, right? Those maps are hundreds of thousands of dollars, even in today's money. So, yep. Thanks, bro, for joining in and expanding on this. Absolutely awesome, bro.
Yeah,
Glad.
man. I appreciate you, man, and I appreciate you guys, and thanks for having me on, man. It's always a pleasure getting on here and just killing this map, getting at this map, or getting exposed myself because I fuck up a translation or two. But I'm gonna fix it though. I'm gonna make it right. You know what I'm saying. And thanks to the chat. I appreciate y'all, man. Thank you guys. I really appreciate you guys, and thanks for hanging in and going over this map with us. I know we're gonna have more here coming up. I know we're gonna have more.
Oh yeah, absolutely, bro. It's more than almost 3 hours, so we are good for today. That's why we're gonna be wrapping it up. Sam, last thoughts, bro.
Well, same thing. Like, thanks again for me, making us come here and just say, think with you, because I tell you something. Even though we don't understand, everything, as long as we start thinking and we start, digging, well, that's the drill. That's what we need, actually. That's what people don't do today. People don't have the time to do this. They don't give a shit. They don't care. So it's important just to think, even though you don't understand. At the end, it's not important. It's not more important than to think. So just keep on thinking. Just keep on like shaping up. It's like it's like the drill. It's like it's good. It's good for the brains. It's good for the soul.
Yep.
So I'm with you, man. Whenever, just tell me and I come here. That's a good place to come and think.
Same.
Absolutely, brother. Always a pleasure, Sam. And this is the thing. Maybe it sparked something in some of us to start looking into something and dig in and get something out where we find more, we get more deeper in our understanding of this realm, right? Absolutely.
Right.
These controllers, they just want us to believe that where we live is only this, right? And this map, it's just magical, and it destroys this globe in every aspect if you look into it, right? And for sure more is gonna come. So yep, think what is Antarctica TD for, and make up your own mind. And this is here for people to ponder. And yep, thanks Vlad, thanks Sam, and thanks everybody in the chat for joining us to this awesome podcast live tonight about the Monte Urbano, with the treaty being more than few hundred years old at least, right? If not thousands. So, yep. See you all soon. This is Vikka signing out, guys. Bye, everyone.
Peace.
Bye.
Take care.